Hi, this is Eugene Jarvis, and welcome to Video Game Bullshit!
Welcome to episode 114 of Video Game. Oh shit!
Yeah, that's a lot of bullshit.
lot of bullshit. And welcome, Tristan. Welcome, Tristan.
Yes. Good to be back.
How have you been?
Oh, much better. I mean, I don't want to. Are we just going to dive into like how we've been? Because it's been a few weeks.
Yeah. Been a few weeks, man. What have you been up to?
I mean, I was updating everyone on my narcolepsy crap that was going through, and was on short-term disability for a little bit, and so I finally was able to see some specialists. Got a new sleep study done. Turns out that whenever I was sleeping, my oxygen was getting down to about 50%.
Jeez.
Yeah, dude. So it's no wonder I was, falling asleep at the wheel and at work and standing up and whatever. So new CPAP, new mask, new lease on life. Back to work now. So I'm good to go.
Safe.
Yeah.
No,
safe and driving again. That whole time I wasn't driving either, which was driving me crazy.
That's the main thing. That is the main thing, man. You are safe.
Yeah, seriously. I'm safe and everyone around me is safe. So, I don't care if I harm myself. Don't take that wrong. But if I hurt someone else, yeah, that would be, I'd never forgive myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's, both ends of the spectrum, though, are important. And yeah, I'm over here now 2 months in Hawaii.
It's been 2 months already?
2 months.
That's crazy.
I'm in my house. I have some internet. That's kind of why things have been a little crazy. So I've been moving in. I was able to sync up with old Kevin Kill from old school VGBS a couple times, but it's been crazy. That dude hurt his back or something. He's always like, dude, I can't record because
what?
Cool, man.
You need your back to record? That's so good.
I don't know, but cool. I need more time to play Doom. It's all good because he's gonna ban me if I don't play Doom, and I'm like, I ain't talking Doom right now. It's cool, but it does take some time. It does take some time. But yeah, 2 months out here. I have fully taken over as first sergeant now. That was a week and a half ago.
Nice.
Got out the mop and just cleaning up from the predecessor because it's a big chaos. But it's been a busy time right now at work too. So where I've been kind of a bit exhausted, trying to get caught up. I mean, we're gearing up with premium for a fall piece, but we're doing a big PR push, so we're going to be working with a PR company to hopefully get our name out there a little bit so we can, so people know who we are. And that was kind of the pitch, which was pretty cool, though, Tristan, was the PR company pitched to me. They're like, you all are different than every other company out there, and you're different because everybody on your team is passionate about gaming. You're all gamers. That's what we need to focus on. And I was like, that is perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. He initially mentioned that he wanted to focus it in on me. And I was like, well, as long as everybody gets a focus, because we are a team at Premium. And that's what I told him. He's like, okay, I'll rework that in. Because I was like, it ain't just about one person. We have a whole team of people that have interesting stories, interesting backgrounds, collections, different stuff. I feel like this could be a really big, soapbox for everybody on the team to kind of
for sure. I mean, one of the things that I love about Premium is the fact that, obviously you're kind of the nucleus that brought everyone together. But yeah, like you've kind of cherry picked like all this talent around and like brought it into, you know, premium as it is today. So I mean, everyone on the team, you know, I'm not going to speak for myself, but is really talented and is there for a reason. You know, aside from the fact that yeah, we're all passionate gamers, we all have something to bring to the table.
Yeah, and like we'll, you know, take our time to make sure that we put out absolute quality.
Yep.
And it's an interesting perspective because a lot of developers aren't used to that. Like, hey, no, we're gonna wait.
Yeah.
Be good.
Seriously.
And yeah, we're always, you know, doing cool stuff, and we're always doing what I feel like raising the bar, if that makes sense.
Well, a prime example is Rack and Ruin for PlayStation. We weren't comfortable as a team releasing that game because it had a game. Well, I don't want to say game breaking, but like if you want to get all the trophies, you couldn't. Like it was impossible to do it unless it was patched. So we you know, implored the developers to go back and dust off their development kits, which they did, and they fixed it. And the game is better for it, and you guys are going to reap the rewards for that work that we, you know, insisted upon.
And it'll be preserved like that, which is the important piece.
Exactly. It's complete.
The irony is like we have a platinum patch that we're doing for PlayStation, and like we couldn't even do it.
Yeah, so no one would ever get it.
Irony.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because we're not going to have a ton of patches for PlayStation. It's going to be very, very small. It's going to be elusive. And just like some of our Switch ones have retired. Like, our Switch patches are retired. Like, I know we're going to start publicizing that a little bit. But, like, hey, you know, this game that we had, like, years ago, those patches are gone. Mm-hmm. Like, it's pretty interesting. Let's see. So, what else I've been up to? Last week 2 weeks ago, we started family game night at the house. So basically we all get to choose a game every week. So the first one was my daughter. She chose a Goat Simulator on the Switch.
Wait, which one?
Whatever one was on Switch and on PlayStation Online, because we had it on both, and I think we ended up playing PlayStation version.
Coincidentally, I just purchased Goat Simulator 3 yesterday. Just yesterday, I picked that up. I haven't played it yet, but it looks hilarious.
Yeah, we spent like a couple hours just running around and doing dumb stuff, and like you can do like modifiers, and I threw like a jetpack on my goat, and I was like,
yeah, okay. I think it's the third one. Then I heard about that. Yeah.
We're just doing dumb stuff. It's so good. And then the next week we actually broke our game night, and we did not do it because we had too much going on with like moving in and all that stuff. Yeah. But last night we ended up playing, I think it was 3 hours. And we played because we wanted to do family game and movie night. So after Goat Simulator, we watched the Super Mario Brothers movie, which we have on Blu-ray. And that was what London chose. Last night we played Disney Illusion Island.
I haven't heard of that
and
one.
Just came out on Switch only. It is a Metroidvania platformer, no attacks. So you literally are just running and jumping and collecting stuff, and it's so we play with 3 players. So I was Goofy, daughter was Donald, and my wife was Mickey. And we are running around. First player controls the camera. You essentially have infinite lives, though. You pick back up at the checkpoints. And so essentially, like if my wife loses all her hearts, then she'll pop up at the next mailbox as a little letter, and you can pull them out, or if I do, or London does. And there's lots of progression where you're going all around the world, and then you'll get like a new ability, like the ground pound, and then you can pound through stuff and unlock more parts of the level. And
so having never seen that, like my mind goes to Mickey Mouse capades, but similar-ish. I don't know.
Well, a lot of the ones on Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis had power-ups and abilities and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas this is straight up like jumping abilities like Metroidvania. So we got the wall bounce, and then we'll get the double jump, and then we'll get the ground pound. I think we'll get a feather fall soon. And the art style is the new Mickey Mouse cartoons. So like the real like dark outline, pencil outlines for the characters and everything. It's just the core four. Minnie is the fourth character in the game. But yeah, that game's been getting pretty rave reviews online too. But my wife's been waiting for it for months to come out. As soon as it was announced at the Nintendo Direct, like I think 2 Nintendo Directs ago, my wife's been waiting for it, and it came out on Friday. So I went and picked it up. Ironically, briefed my soldiers that I, saved the world because I don't sleep on the couch because I got, Illusion Island, and they laughed. And then I was like, as I got done talking, my wife texted me, "You get the game?" And I like showed them all my soldiers. I'm like, "Hey, see?" They're like, "Oh my god!" It was like hilarious. Like timing was perfect. That's awesome. The other thing I found though at GameStop was I got the giant hardcover Tears of the Kingdom guide.
Yeah, mine finally showed up on Amazon. Like, I can't remember even like how long ago it was ordered, but that thing dropped, a couple months after the game. So, all these dedicated players like us who have spent hundreds of hours now have a guide in our hands to, I guess, spend a couple hundred more.
I mean, we're barely at 50%. I mean, so it would be interesting to see like how far we would get or not.
Geez, you haven't beat it yet.
Beat it? Yeah.
Oh, no, you have beat it. Okay, you're saying 50% as in. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
I'm like 120 hours. I'm only at 50% completion, and I've been hunting for 120 hours or something. Like I haven't powered it up in weeks just because like I moved on to other stuff. I actually have a couple games to talk about, a few from over the last couple weeks. But first, you up to anything else? What else you got going on before we move on to the next section?
I got a big one. It's not every day that you kickstart one of your passion projects. So Jeff and I, we're kindred spirits in that we like creating stuff for people to read. Both of us are into making books, gaming books, for that matter. And my first book was the Video Game Console Collector's Field Guide, which was a successful Kickstarter through Hagens Alley.
Yep.
Right now available on premiumeditiongames.com. If you want to go and check that out and purchase, go ahead and check that out.
We have a lot of them. People need to buy them and enjoy.
Heck yeah. But so in like 2020, right before I got out of the Air Force, and COVID was, the whole thing, everyone was in lockdown, and I'm like, well, what am I going to do with my time? Well, I started another project. I started the Video Game Collector's Field Guide, which at this point is 4 volumes at 2,400 pages.
That's big.
It is a visual compendium of complete video game libraries from A to Z. Basically all of the U.S. libraries are getting the visual treatment, except for anything like new, like the Switch, anything that's still a live console. Because I don't want to like put out what's out right now, because all of a sudden it would be incomplete. So the way you're doing it is perfect, year by year. That way it's complete. I wouldn't be able to do that at this point because they're still making games for all these consoles. So from like PlayStation 3 back, you can expect to see those in there.
What's funny though is like how I had to explain it. And the hardest part was right before the campaign, we're like, you got to make sure you get your shipping right. You're like, crap. Because
exactly.
I was like,
there's so much legwork.
I did the complete SNES and it was 630 pages, and I'm like, dude, that's like over 6 pounds.
Yeah.
630, and you just mentioned over 2,400, so it's 4 times the size. So that's like, I'm like, dude, you're shipping over 20 pounds of books.
I know, and like, I was ready to launch. I'm like, hey Jeff, I'm gonna launch in a couple days. And you're like, have you figured out the shipping? I'm like, oh. Shipping.
So this campaign
11th hour
campaign was tight. Everything else was tight, and I'm like shipping, dude. You're like, Oh,
Crap. Yeah, I forgot about that. So 11th hour, I sat there and crunched all the numbers and figured out, how much it's going to cost to ship to Australia for 4 books that size. And it's not cheap, guys. I'm sorry. It just isn't. It's the world we live in.
And there's no media mail outside of the U.S., even though we're not going to ship
No.
media mail in the U.S.
Yeah, unfortunately. So it is what it is. I set a goal of $10,000, and within just after 2 days, we met that goal. But kind of stagnating a little bit. It's hard not to look at my Kickstarter every single day.
This is what a Kickstarter bell curve looks like. The reverse bell curve.
Absolutely right.
So this is like day 1 and 2, and then it goes, but unless you pour in a ridiculous amount of money into it, and usually the juice isn't worth the squeeze unless like some big like YouTuber celebrity picks it up and like just gets it out there. That's about the only way you'll see a huge spike during the middle, unless you put in a lot of money into it, and it's like
you gotta know somebody or know something. Like I would love for Kotaku to know that I exist and put it on there. That'd be great. Today it was actually featured on the awesomer.com. I don't know if you've ever heard of that website.
No, but that's awesome.
Yeah, the awesomer.com, they just highlight awesome stuff. So yeah. They highlighted
that. Didn't you mention that the Kickstarter campaign got Projects We Love?
It did. Yes, it did. I was not expecting that either, man. That definitely put me in a good mood whenever I got that email.
Amazing. Yeah, and I mean the thing is that it's why I like to work with awesome, passionate, authors, because it's fun going after it, and $10,000 with 2,000 pages of books is going to be a small print run. However, we also work with Premium, who goes across the country at conventions, so we can over order a little bit and make up sales in the future. So it's one of those things where we'll put in a little bit of like Hagens Alley and Premium money into it just to make it bigger. And
I went into it fully expecting to put in some of my own capital, but Kickstarter is a crowdfunding site for a reason. Just so that you don't have to take all the risk on yourself.
Exactly.
It goes out and finds other people who want your product right away and gets you exposure where you wouldn't have got it in the first place.
Just eyeballs.
And Kickstarter takes their cut, and that it's a win-win. It really is.
Exactly. Super cool. And let me see. I think I sent you a message yesterday that I was working on, because I'm finishing up because I have the contributor section for the complete NES. I finally got all that templated in because I moved. I gave all the backers and contributors an extra month to submit stuff. Everything is in sums of 4. So Tristan, if you want to submit pages, I at least need a couple stories so I can have.
Okay.
Because I still got time because the next piece I'm going to do this next weekend is art to the spreadsheets now, because it's like the Nintendo compendium I made. It's going to be big, full page art with every story. And then some of the backers had sent pictures, so I'm going to use the pictures as highlights into the articles. A lot of them are personal stories. I do have a few that reviewed some games, which is cool because I have it sectioned off by stories, games, aftermarket stuff. And so there's some really cool different perspectives in there, which I think is rad. That one, and then of course, as you mentioned, Switch. I'm still been chucking away at year 3. I'm doing what I call the impossible task of doing thorough analysis of the Nintendo Switch. The issue is that online, and I'm on the publisher side of Nintendo as well. The information is not always correct. The stuff that it'll say on Nintendo's eShop, the stuff that it'll say on Metacritic, not necessarily correct all the time. It'll say someone is a developer when it's actually a digital publisher, or it's just not the actual developers. So I have been using the copyright text on the back of games to cross-check. I've been utilizing multiple sources to figure out who the developers are. And even games like that Square's putting out aren't necessarily are developed by Square. They're developed by a team that they hire to port or whatever. So I'm trying to get as accurate as possible. It'll probably be about 80 to 90% because there's no way some of the stuff's just not there. But like we put the developers on the back of our cases. Not every company does that either.
Yeah, so. And folks, this very, very thoroughly illustrates why you want people like Jeff and people like me making your books. Why you need to buy our stuff, because we care that much to that level of detail, whereas other people won't.
Yeah, and ironically, like you could use a source from one website, it's wrong, or three sources would be three, and it's just trying to get every piece of the pie as good as I can for the year 3, and it's going to be a beast. And I'm doing this on the side while we're working on physical stuff and getting things out there, and it's chaos all the time.
So I know year two was a beast in and of itself. Year 3 were there more or less games than year 2?
Oh, it goes up every year, man.
Okay.
Every year.
Well, I expected at some point to drop off, but I mean the momentum of the Switch is obviously still just going crazy.
Well, I do know that from year 1 to year 2 it was 3 times the size. From year 2 to year 3, I want to say it's 3 times the size of year 2.
Unreal.
And you got to think about it. Year 2 is when the limited print companies started.
Yeah.
Year 3 is when they started to ramp up. And then year 4, 5, and now, I mean, imagine how many games a limited run is putting up for pre-order every week. So, and it's exponentially gotten bigger over the years, which means that is going to be the Nintendo Switch's library as it expands, because a lot of those aspects are what are causing it to go up. And other companies are popping out of the woodwork over the last couple of years that are publishing games. And I'm not just doing US, so I'm a glutton for punishment.
Which is, dude, masochist. You're a masochist. That's insane. Like, I don't even begin to understand how you can have time for all that research. But kudos to you.
Well, the my own personal issue that I have with not including them was, I'm like, year 1 there were amazing games. Year 2 there were amazing games that were not released in the US. Yeah. Like you're talking Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, Okami, Unamusha, Warlords, so many of these classic games. I Am Setsuna was year 1, and
it was year 1. Yeah.
And those would be like omitted if I didn't include them. And I'm like, those are important milestone titles on the PS2 era, PS3 era that are really awesome. PS1 era with Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. So it's like such a cool piece of history that I feel like the Switch covers a wide array of genres and a wide array of generations of gaming. To me, that's like, I always feel like this might be the last console I go crazy for. I might start piecemealing from here on out and backward collecting. And I've, since 6 months ago, I stopped hard collecting for Switch 2, and I've been picking and choosing, and then I'm going to have to go back in time and figure out, all right, what did I miss now, and go like yard sale hunting and convention hunting and online maybe, but I've never been a big fan of one on eBay.
No.
But like that's the Wild West. I kind of like it like that, but it's gonna be challenging.
Well, yeah, and it's impossible to know, how it's going to shake out. Which titles are going to be like I hate to use the term hidden gems that people are going to be clamoring after, and the prices are going to be crazy, and it's impossible to know.
The Switch is the worst that I've ever seen. The reason being is because of the premium edition games where we're not printing tens and tens of thousands of games. Like we're printing 5,000 of most, maybe 6, maybe 10. Yeah. But like we're not. So that means that there's a finite amount, and I don't think it's just us. I feel like there's even Square Enix games or Capcom games where their games are already gone. And
just look at the Pixel remaster. That's a prime example.
Exactly. And so to me, it's going to be key titles are going to be super expensive. I'll be able to find some as I hunt, as people are getting offloading their giant when they tried to collect every single Switch game, which was an insane thing.
Yeah.
I should be able to get, a few games here or there that I would like to have. But also, like, I'm good fry for the rest of my life with what I currently already own. So really everything I get is like icing on the cake at this point. It's like I'm
For sure.
happy to be glad collector at this point when it comes to Nintendo. And getting those cool pieces like a Switch kiosk, like a something that you showed me that you just got yesterday with a big old thing, which I won't steal any thunder. But like that stuff to me is like even cooler. And of course, being able to make our own stuff is like next level amazing. So
yeah, seriously.
like,
oh my gosh, yeah. How many people can say that? I mean, really?
Not a lot, not in the States at least. And so that's the thing that's pretty crazy. And it's just a cool thing where I don't mind going back and hunting for games. I did it for Nintendo. I did it for Super Nintendo. Did it for 64. Like GameCube. Like I will continue. And I'm just gonna focus on the stuff that, I want to play, or my daughter wants to play, or my wife wants to play. And we'll hang out. We're gonna do a premium game night, like as a team, I'll buy that game, which I did do, and I got some feedback in the after news.
Good deal.
But so anything else you got going on before we move over to some news? Because we got some funny news.
Well, I'll just mention what you mentioned about my pickup. So I went to a toy fair yesterday, of all places, and we ran into a GameStop employee, former GameStop employee, that apparently just took every poster that he ever was in the store while he was working there. So he had hundreds of single, double, quadruple panel posters of you name the franchise. There was tons of Pokemon stuff, Zelda stuff, Mario stuff, just crazy amounts. And it was anywhere from like $20 to $40 depending on how big the poster was. So the one that you saw, Breath of the Wild, which is a four panel poster, 4 feet by 4 feet on my wall right now, that was $40.
That is insane. Like, because before we recorded, Tristan hand the camera. It's huge. It's like his damn wall. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, I had a perfect. It's exactly 4 feet by 4 feet. This blank space on a wall, like right by my printer. So, let's see. I took some pictures here of the other ones. Cool. I got a Super Mario Maker 2 big poster. I got a 4-panel Final Fantasy VII Remake poster.
Oh, that's cool.
Paper Mario Origami King, a 2-panel Super Mario 3D World, Super Mario Game & Watch, Luigi's Mansion 3, Wario Get It Together, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Yeah, it's just, and then for my friend
that's so many cool things.
Yeah, for a friend down in Texas who's a huge fan of Street Fighter and into the fighting game community, I got a 4-panel Street Fighter 6 poster for him.
That's cool as heck, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Like, if I had space or had any ideas, because I've never been a big poster person, but that giant Breath of the Wild one's cool. Like,
dude, it's sick.
Like that kind of stuff is like amazing.
So you did beat the game, right?
What's Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom.
Of course, we talked about it on the episode.
I just wanted to make sure. I've been talking to so many people about that game; it's hard to keep track.
It's been a while since we've recorded, Tristan. But at our Tears of the Kingdom finale, we talked about the ending in detail.
Exactly. So I hadn't beat the game, and
no, you had not.
Yeah, and now I have, and I have one thing that I want to say about that ending, and I think it's it's been long enough that I don't care about spoilers or whatever. Awesome set piece boss fight up in the air, dragon versus dragon, whatever. but I think they messed up the ending in a bad way. So
they messed that up.
So you know how Zelda, sacrifices herself, swallows her secret stone, turns into a dragon, loses herself, whatever. It's supposed to be this big thing where she sacrifices herself and there's nothing that she can do about it to come back and be Zelda again. Well, after you beat Ganon, they're like like some old sages or whatever come back and you combine powers and you're like, oh, hey, all of a sudden we decided that we can bring her back. So now she's back to being Zelda again. Hey, great. Everything's great. So my gripe here is not only that's an obvious gripe, but they could have done it so much better. For when did Breath of the Wild come out? 2017?
Year one of the Switch.
Yeah, 2017, right?
Long time ago, yeah.
For 6 years, Nintendo has ignored the fact that the Triforce exists. They never mention it once. Not once in both games. What does the Triforce do whenever you touch it, Jeff?
That is how the Dark World happens from the Golden Land and Zelda Link to the Past. It grants the wishes of the heart's desire of its
Exactly. It grants the deepest desire of the person who touches it. Why, oh why, did they not bring back Zelda that way?
I mean, if only they had something that was mythical like a Triforce in The Legend of Zelda that was already pre-established.
Yeah.
They could have utilized.
If only.
Yeah. I have no idea, why.
It was on a tee, dude. It was on a tee. They just had to hit it.
They jacked that up so bad. That's funny. Yeah, I was like, I know when you mentioned that we were on a call, I was like, you're 100% right. Like, there's no way that's just so funny.
Yeah.
So funny,
anyway,
man.
Sorry. Well, we'll get back. We went down the river a little bit, but anyway, we back on track. What you got, buddy?
VGBS never goes back on track. We're always down the river. We're just trying to keep our heads above water. So there's been a couple cool things in the news. One somber one ridiculous one, and then one more ridiculous one. So which do you want to do first? Do you want to do somber, ridiculous, or stupid?
I think in that order sounds like the most logical.
Okay, so somber. I think you're aware of this, but this issue, which you won't be able to see because my head, but this is issue 69 of Switch Player Magazine. This is the final issue of Switch Player Magazine. They are moving toward only doing books because hardcover books are the way to go, is what the interview was. We've been doing this premium. We've had ads in there for over a year now. It's been amazing. I love Switch Player Magazine because they always covered indie titles and they would review the indie titles. They go do a ton every 2 because they did every 2 months for their issues. And it's a nice little small magazine. I love it. But the 69 is the last issue, and it has an amazing Tears of the Kingdom cover, drawn double-sided cover. Amazing art. Hats off to them though, Ninty Media. They also had a Ninty Fresh Nintendo magazine that's also done, and they're going to combine all efforts into doing some type of book series or books in the future, because they just did the Game Book, which is a Game Boy sized little coffee table book, which is pretty rad. I like it. I only have one gripe, and it's that on the cover's just art, and there's like this little sleeve. It's the only thing that says Game Book on it. There's no, the name of the book is not on the front of the cover at all.
What?
Yeah, it's only on this cardboard little wraparound sleeve that keeps the book together.
Like a spine card kind of thing,
or like a napkin ring.
Okay, because it's like an O-ring thing.
Yeah, but it's not O, but it's like cardboard sleeve.
Yeah,
it's like a tiny little piece of cardboard. That's
really?
it's like a piece of paper almost, but that's my only gripe with it. Outside of that, like the content's awesome. I love the focus on Game Boy. It's amazing. And like it's cool. That's where Nintendo Media is moving though. With that, it's a sad time though. If only we had more time in the day, Tristan, we could just do our own Switch magazine with beer and booze. Like,
dude, it'd be so much fun. Seriously, it really would.
Yeah. But something would have to give, and we.
Yeah, I would have to quit my day job for sure.
Me too. And a couple years from now, my current day job's gone, but I'm gonna be like you, and I'll have something else I'll be doing.
Oh, like you're gonna be like me, like a bum, or no?
Oh no, you're working hard, man.
Oh, I know.
After my retirement, like I'm probably gonna turn the corner and do some too. But yeah, so that's the somber news, though. Is that hats off on to Switch Player Magazine. There's gonna be a lot of writers out there that gonna need something to do. They will drink a Monster thing with ice. Or we're getting our sodas.
I'm cheating on NOS tonight.
Yeah, it used to be old school VGBS. We'd be over drinking like liquor. It's only 4 p.m. my time, so I'm like, no, I'm not getting trashed in the afternoon here in Hawaii. Still gonna go out and probably take my dog for a walk later. Do some hang out. And we just got this is actually another personal one. My wife bought a portable pizza stove.
Cool.
So it goes outside. It's 50 pounds, but it's like small personal pizzas, and it heats the pizza up, and you can cook it in like 2 minutes. And it's outside on our grill cart that we have outside here. So,
nice.
Because I think a Papa John's pizza here is like $20 for one.
Okay.
So, we're gonna make our own. So we bought this big old pizza thing. We'll have probably forever, and we'll always have delicious pizza. Yeah. So the crazy stuff, though.
That's the cruel joke of Hawaii. It's a paradise, but boy, do you pay for it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's been the challenging part. Of course, Sam's Club, Costco are out here, and that's where we go. And the problem with those, though, is that in Hawaii, everything is smaller, so our houses are smaller. So you go to Costco and Sam's Club and get all this bulk stuff that you got to put.
Yeah, never thought about that.
So the next step is we may buy a deep freezer. We haven't bought one of those. Yes, we might have a deep freezer in the garage and stuff that we'll take with us when I retire. So it's not like we're not buying anything that we're not going to use.
Sure.
But yeah, craziness. But yeah, there was a good old down the river after Switch Player. It's as don't want to get drunk here at on a Sunday afternoon. We record on Sundays. So you want to just go to the absurd or the ridiculous?
Well, which one's worse? Let's go in order of let's ramp it up.
So absurdity. I opened up my phone the other day and I hadn't noticed it till like this morning. What the hell is this black X icon?
Yeah. I saw that yesterday.
That is absurd. So apparently Twitter is gone and it's X.
It's X now.
Like what?
It's X now.
That's the absurd, man. Like what is going on? That basically dude buys it and just does what he wants. Like that is.
I mean, that's what tech bros do, right? they do what they want because they're not beholden to anybody. They got the money to do it. Funny. I would say they're not beholden to anybody, but he is beholden to a lot of investors. So I wonder how they feel about it.
Yeah.
It can't be good. Can't be a good vibe right now.
It's very interesting because Twitter's dead. It's gone. It's called X now, unless that's just a late April Fool's joke. Like,
maybe it's a joke, and everyone's falling for it. But it's just the craziest thing in the world. I mean, like, Twitter is such an established, like, everyone knows what it is. But if you haven't heard the news that X is, Twitter is now X, then you're looking at your phone like, what is this crap?
Like, did I get hacked? I need to delete this shit.
Yeah.
Access the delete button on iOS. So I'm like, did I just get rid of it? Like, I clicked on it like a Dumbo, and I'm like, oh, it's just Twitter.
Yeah.
What happens to Twitter Blue? It's not. Was it X Blue now? Like, what is it? Like all the.
Got me, dude.
Like, I'm in.
X Black.
I don't know, man. Stuff's wild. Like crazy though. But that's the absurd news. So the ridiculous news, and this one's gaming related. Are you tracking the latest Billy Mitchell news? Billy Mitchell.
Oh yeah. I did watch it. I watched it.
So apparently the video game player of the century never was awarded to Billy Mitchell, according to all
allegedly.
It's all allegedly, but like,
don't sue us, Billy. Billy, don't sue us.
There's some pretty insane claims if it's not true.
Yeah.
Like literally totally makes sense, because if you think about it, why would Namco be the authority to claim that he is the video game player of the century? And then by what authority does that matter? That's one game publisher.
So
like
devil's advocate. I
like Billy Mitchell as a person. He's a good dude.
Same. He's leaned into.
It's a bit ridiculous.
I know, but I mean, like, you're a wrestling fan. I used to be huge into wrestling. He is one hell of a heel, and he leans into that shit.
Yeah. It's just hilarious because of the way that there was like the little plaque that was given to him by Namco. There was claims that he like made himself and took it to Namco and had the dude sign it, and he went on stage and posed with them on his own, where he wasn't even invited, even though that was the opposite. I think that a lot of those different claims are a stretch, because I'm pretty sure at some point they want this dude who could do a perfect Pac-Man to just come on stage because of the pomp and circumstance with
I could see that much. And then maybe Billy's like, hey, can you give me this this thing that I made and call me, well, whatever, I don't know.
Or Namco could have made a simple plaque. Like, it's the only thing that was weird that they didn't even bring up is, like, technically if they're in Japan getting it, it would have Japanese on it too. They would have both.
Well, did you watch that video by? It's the name's escaping me. It's that dude that always opens up his YouTube videos. Hello, you absolute legends. That guy.
Same guy that talked about WADA.
Yes.
So he's done. Carl Jobst.
Carl Jobst. Thank you. I could not remember his name for the life of me, but I just watched that video, and he does an excellent job of gathering the evidence and laying it out in a very sensical manner, so that anyone with a brain can put two and two together. He doesn't spell it out for you necessarily, but like, you can put two and two together and you're like, this is really effing fishy.
It's odd. It's very odd. And the thing is that, like, I've watched Billy Mitchell play. He's freaking unreal. He's a great player. So
sure,
that's the one thing, is that, like, he's getting backed into a corner from an era where there wasn't a whole lot of, high resolution cameras and photo evidence, and
and deep dives by people like Ben Heck that can,
or stringent rules,
get into frame data and actually break down the game, like, technically,
and stringent rules. And I mean, there are people that are hanging on his every word and holding it against him. So if he talks at one, panel, they're going to use that against him because, well, he said right here that he did this. When in reality, I know this for a fact. When we go and repeat stories, those stories can sometimes change, be modified. Sure. You're talking, you might have alcohol involved in some of these things. Like, especially I'm on panel. Sometimes I'm drinking on the panel. So if we're talking details and you're holding me liable, like from a court piece for something I said at a panel, like that right there is a little weird. But the stuff that he's repeated over the years, video game player of the century, like, the guy could have called him that on the stage, good enough, And in reality, it's somebody that the industry respected at the time. So cool. That's enough right there to be video game player of the century. We're a games publisher, so Tristan Navarro is video game collector of the century right now. Like he is the video game collector of the century, according to. Like I'm gonna get you
confetti.
I'm gonna print out
confetti cannons aren't working.
But jokes aside, though, like back in the day, though, there wasn't a whole lot of community that was worldwide. There was, game competitions. Like Twin Galaxies ran theirs. There was ones before that for asteroids and stuff like that from back in the day. But there were like small little college-based ones and small community things that a local area would put on versus now where it's a worldwide phenomena, right? Like it's
and if you put yourself out there like Billy Mitchell has and make all these claims, especially in court, we'll get to that. That's a different thing. He's perjuring himself allegedly. So he's putting himself out there, and as we see with we'll use the Calico Chameleon as a good example. People, the dude posted pictures of the board that was used inside the Calico Chameleon, and the internet sleuths had that thing cracked in no time flat because everybody is scrutinizing everything that's said in the public domain. Billy's putting himself out there and he's getting crucified because it doesn't hold up, allegedly. And, people like Carl Jobst, he's popular on YouTube for a reason because he calls out people's bullshit.
Yeah. Now, ironically, we are video game bullshit. Yeah. Now let's put the foot on the other shoe. You see how I said it backward there? Shoe on the other foot. Foot on the other shoe. So the other thing that could absolutely happen, right? So you got this judge right there. That's viewing this case, right? They could go, this is just a bunch of video game nerd crap and just dismiss it because it's not that big of a deal. Because the key is, it really depends on the severity of each piece. It could be like, all right, Billy Mitchell, you're not getting nothing. Twin Galaxies, you're not getting nothing. Done. Like y'all are blowing this way out of proportion. The liableness of this doesn't matter to this. Blah 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 blah. It could absolutely just dismiss it on the grounds of like insanity. Like, cause it's one of those pieces where it's interesting to us because we're gamers.
Yeah.
But it's not.
But in the grand scheme of things, how much weight does it really matter? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Exactly. Now, for stuff in the history books, and it's interesting to see because, like, when we're talking all the other people that Carl Jobst has talked about and others on YouTube, where they talk about the others with world records that have knowingly manipulated the databases and gotten their things in there with records that couldn't be made and all these other pieces. I like being a devil's advocate with that though, because I'm like, okay, so Dragster, you can't recreate it on a digital computer, but what if the voltage within the Atari 2600, because it's such a low-level programming language, what if that voltage messed with the timing for a second and caused it to be possible to do something? Maybe he got struck by electricity while he was doing it.
Sure,
like, who's to
but okay. But on the other hand, this is going to be a debate show now where we're both playing devil's advocate for the other side. Todd Rogers never did himself any favors because he's talking about how he's given the Dragster gas before. I mean, like, he's as if that's a thing. I mean,
he gives it NOS.
Oh, well, then that's possible.
Now you're on board.
NOS Energy.
Sponsor of Tristan Navarro.
Sponsored by NOS Energy drinks.
But yeah, no, it's fun to debate, but in reality, online databases can be manipulated.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
And I know how hard it is to keep things at a small level sorted out. Like even for us making as little games as we are and all that, 'cause we move nice and slow and predicted. Imagine having every single video game we're in charge of keeping track of. And I mentioned the inaccuracies of Nintendo Switch online, the stuff that's published. Now you're talking a video game database managed by a couple passionate gamers. Like there's so much out there that's probably wrong that needs to be fixed. And it just so happens that one dude had a crap ton that were entered that were wrong, and he should just fess up and been like, "Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in there that was crazy. It was the Wild West. Like we can fix them now. Like no big deal."
I know. Yeah.
They all doubled down.
Oh yeah. And to your point about to judge, it's probably not going to matter. It probably will be thrown out on just those facts alone. But where Twin Galaxies may be able to countersue is if they can prove that it caused them any sort of monetary damage, and then it has to be settled or go to court. Is Billy Mitchell perjuring himself? Allegedly, yes. Is it going to go to criminal court, and is he going to do jail time for it? Likely no. Who would waste their time doing that? What DA would do that? Unless they're a nerd like us and want to protect the integrity of classic video gaming as we know it. Who's going to champion that?
And the thing that's interesting is that they're talking monetary damages to Twin Galaxies. They would have to talk their reputation versus the constant publicity that they are getting in the modern game space, because they're being mentioned by us right now. But imagine all the other people that are mentioning them, that is giving them all this publicity from this, that is raising awareness that they are out there and they're a governing body. And just like that, that court system probably isn't going to care about a bunch of nerd gamers. Also, a bunch of gamers that want to submit some records aren't going to care about Billy Mitchell shenanigans. They're still going to submit records because it's cool. It's like what Twin Galaxy does is super cool. And they have a history behind it, so it's a really awesome thing.
Maybe. Dude, hear me out here. Class action lawsuit against Billy Mitchell for all those gamers who made their pilgrimage to Hollywood, Florida, to meet the man who was the video gamer of the century.
Did you make your pilgrimage? Did you?
I've met him, yeah. I have met him, but it was at a convention.
I would say, did you make the pilgrimage to Hollywood, Florida?
No, I did not.
I have eaten at Ricky's.
Have you?
Hollywood, yeah. Did I make the pilgrimage to meet Billy Mitchell? No. Ironically, I lived down in Miami. I was at Southcom, Southern Command. And up in Fort Lauderdale was the world famous swap shop. 4 Mile Flea Market, where I got a Commodore 64, that monitor that I have. Like I got that there. I got tons of games there. Right next to Lauderdale's Hollywood. It was like a mile away. So we stopped in there. Greasiest wings that you'll ever have. Their Ricky's sauce is literally like a normal buffalo sauce.
So watery, man.
Yeah, it's just a normal buffalo sauce.
Yeah.
But none of the Billy Mitchell family were there, but they did have a Pac-Man. Was it Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man? I can't remember now. But they had a Pac-Man, an arcade there. Not a Donkey Kong, but a Pac-Man.
Gotta love it, man.
But here's
the comedy
thing
writes itself.
the years back when I would go to all the conventions and Billy Mitchell would be there, and he was always super nice to my daughter London, like cool dude.
Yeah, he is
not the heel, not the bad guy. The heel that he portrays himself as. He's super nice dude.
Yeah.
Whether he did it or not, honestly, I don't care if he did. It is what it is. He's always been cool. Walter Day too, nicest dude ever.
Oh, Walter's a sweetheart,
and he is getting drugged through the mud for this. Ironically. This is where, on a personal note, I feel slighted, where I need to do a class action lawsuit. Because every time Carl Jobst does a damn video, my name is on the screen because I did the Walter Day book, and my name is right on there.
I know, yeah.
So mad.
I forgot to mention that. I actually, I pointed that out to my wife whenever I was watching that. I'm like, hey, Hagens Alley.
Who would have thought that the one book I did that I made $0 on, I did it out of charity for Walter Day. I did take it to Kickstarter, gave him 100% of the books, gave him 100% of the money after I paid for the book prices and shipping to him. Who would have thought that one would be the one to get the notoriety on every single one? I'm like, really? My name's there every time.
Pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
And the thing is that it was Dan Tierley, who does a lot of Star Wars stuff. He's the one that did that cover for Walter. Like, he did the cover for Walter and everything, and it was like an amazing thing. I just did it because Walter was always talking about wanting to get his cards. So I was like, I'll do the first year of your cards. I'll do it as a collector's checklist. I'll put stories from all the people who had cards from that year and have at it. And then I worked with a guy, Todd Friedman, who also co-runs Video Game Summit in Chicago, Illinois, with a guy named Dan. And that convention has gotten big over the years. But Todd's a good dude. And he took over after a year, too. So I was like, dude, I don't got time to do any more. I did the first one for that, but have at it. You're free to do what you want. Just make sure you support Walter with it. That was my only thing. I was like, make sure you support Walter with it, because my thing is like, I wanted to do it for him. It was his thing. Which is funny. Yeah, it was a classic though. I'm on the damn screen every time. I'm like, my name is on there. Ah!
Real talk. I want one of those trading cards for myself. Like, I want to be on one of those trading cards, but
yeah,
maybe someday.
I don't think it's ever been on a Video Game Bullshit episode, but I don't think I talked about like the ominous random card that I had from Walter Day that I didn't even know was being created. Like, so my first card that I got, I was like showing off my London tattoo. That was my first Walter Day card, and that was for my Hidden Gaming Gems book. It was called Hidden Treasures, though, in Europe, and Walter Day gave me a recognition for it. So it has I got a recognized for my book. I got an award from Walter Day, so it's a award recognized book.
Heck yeah, you're not lying.
Still got something. I got awarded in Ottumwa, Iowa, and when I was visiting my parents in Indiana, my wife and I drove out there and they did the presentation. There was a card signing. It was really
cool.
Then they did he did a card there it was me and my daughter London on the Walter Day card as a Fairfield, Iowa, Ottumwa, whatever they put on in Fairfield for that event. There was an event card, the signature card that I was signing there.
Cool.
So that was the second one. Fast forward a couple years down the line, though, it was hilarious. Todd Friedman, his main claim to fame is he collects all the Walter Day cards. He comes to me and asks me at Midwest Gaming Classic, and this is like a few years later. So 2014 was when that event was. That was when I got my first card. So almost 10 years now. But like 2016, whatever, maybe 2017, he comes over, hey, will you sign a card of you? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Expecting to see, one of those rare ones. He comes with a new horizontal card of me.
That you didn't even know about.
In my military uniform at my wedding.
What?
And it says gamers in the military. And at that point, I hadn't been publicizing I was in the Army or nothing. And I'm like, now I'm on a Walter Day card.
Oh my god.
And it was in my old greens when I got married, like the old pickle suit, before the current blues. And now they got the Army Green Service uniform. So it was like many, many moons ago. And I'm like, what is this? Like, I don't even have these cards. Like, what is this? It was hilarious. So I ended up getting like a stack of them from Walter like a year later or something, and I brought them with me to conventions. I think I might have handed out the last couple last year. It's like a purple card or whatever. It was just like me smiling, doing like this or something, doing metal horns or something in uniform, sweating because it was a Orlando, Florida location wedding. So where we had the bagpiper that played, because my wife has a little bit of Scottish in her background, but he played bagpipes for Roddy Piper at WrestleMania.
Dude.
And
you have the most random, like, I still need to pick your brain about the freaking Zoobly Zoo guy.
Gary Schwartz.
Yeah.
Gary Schwartz. That That was the one at Emerald Coast Con, which is turned into Really Rad Weekend Getaway, with Joe Alonzo runs now. But back when it was Emerald Coast Con, that was ran by like a company that like runs conventions. They brought me out, flew me out, put me up, all that stuff. And Gary Schwartz was there, and we were just shooting the shit, drinking margaritas on the beach and, down in Emerald Coast in Panama City. And he's talking about, wait, you were the fox at Jubilee Zoo? Like, what? Like, it was wild.
My wife used to watch that all the time when she was a kid. All the time.
And then as soon as he told me that, I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like, I couldn't not see it at that point. And then he's talking about Star Trek: The Next Generation, and he did all like the voiceover and background work, and there's like noise for the entire series. He's in Half-Life 2, I want to say, as well, doing voiceover work. That's why he was at the gaming convention. But yeah, I was sitting there shooting the crap with that guy. Like, it was wild. Like, that's the thing. You go to enough conventions and you meet all types of characters.
Yeah, like, seriously. I was so late to the party whenever it came to conventions. My first one I ever went to was the first ever Retropalooza in Dallas.
Yeah.
But then after that, I started going to like Screw Attack Gaming Convention before they went up. They sold their website. Screw Attack did. So I've been to a handful. I haven't been to dozens upon dozens upon dozens like you. And
well, it was weird because I used to go to Midwest Gaming Classic, and because of video game bullshit, Kyle and I would do a panel there every year. So like we were guests. We do a panel. And that was years and years and years in a row. As soon as I had published the complete NES and that thing exploded online. Because of a Walter Day event where I met Joe Simcoe, who did the art for the cover. That helped too. Every little bit helped. Never did
networking
anything
is so important.
Alone. Yeah, like for real. But I got invited to Retro Game Con in Syracuse, New York, which I know that we're going to as premium again this year, which is awesome. But Patrick Milligan invited me out to do a panel and all this, and I'm like, oh, cool. So there's this guest thing, and it exploded. Like I got invited to like 12 or 13 because I was at the end of that year, and the next year it was like kept on going and kept on going. And I mean, at Retro Game Con, I was booth mates with Joe Granado, NES maker. Like that's him and I got to shoot the shit and got to meet him, and like it just. That's how you get to meet tons and tons of people, and it is just a wild thing. And after doing like 12 the one year, I'm like, I can't do this many anymore.
Yeah, geez.
Like, and I'm still serving, so like I have to take time off, and I can't take like there's times.
Well, you're coming from Hawaii now.
Yeah, but like before, it was like I wouldn't miss Monday, so I would go work at a convention all Sunday, fly back in, and hit Monday morning at work and get to work. And so I was like tired. And it's one thing like that I didn't mention much, but when I was in Texas, like I was a drill sergeant. So I worked all types of hours. So like I would go to a convention like the Retropalooza swap meet one that they did, and I'd drive up to Dallas on a Saturday. I think I stayed the night at my buddy Ferris Bueller, Christian Diedering's house. We went out to eat, and then Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, because it was a one day, drove back, and then went back home and worked on that night. I had to work. Like it was just like I was burning the candle at both ends. That was way too much, and then I started to go to about I'm gonna do about 4 or 5 big ones, and it's not big size, but big like people that I know who run them. So like Midwest Gaming Classic and Game On Expo in Arizona, Portland when it does run. But I found that because of the timing, every other year the military would have me in training. So the years I missed Portland was simply because I was at the Drill Sergeant Academy, or I was at Master Leader course, or I was at this other thing. Like I would always be out of pocket every other year, and then the next year I could go, and then COVID canceled it. So then we all went, and I felt like we had a blast. Like it was really awesome, and I would love to go to Portland again. I think it's $500 for me to fly to Portland, though. Which ain't terrible because it's probably.
But no, that's
500.
actually not terrible. Yeah, I mean, you're probably flying into Los Angeles and then hopping from Los Angeles straight to Portland or something like that, depending on what airline you're going to take. But
I think LA and Portland are direct. They're the only two.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And not Seattle though, but Portland. It's weird.
Oh yeah. Well, there you go.
I was looking at some flights because I remember John Lester, who runs Game On, was like, "You need to come out this year, and flights are cheap." And I was like, "Dude, it's like almost $1,000. Like, I can't, because we could do it for premium, but like I can't responsibly do that as a business owner. Like, I gotta let the team that can get out there to go do it." But
the only thing keeping me from going to Game On this year, because I've never been to Game On. Like, I would love to support John and go to that convention. I've only heard good things about it, but I'm still so new at my job, and like, it didn't do me any favors that I was on short-term disability, not drawing any more like leave. I don't have the leave to give to go, so it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is you got to give and take. And it's the same thing here is like, I'm not going to take, because if I'm going to fly out, like I can't just go for a weekend and come back. That's
no,
a little more time. And I can't bring my family because it's too expensive. So it's like, I got to go by myself. And so I'm thinking that next year, SoCal, I'm going to try to make that one. And if you hadn't heard, SoCal was actually bought by the guys who run Pixel Game Squad and
I did hear that
Retro World Expo. So Riff and Ricky, who run Pixel Game Squad, and Lance and he's gonna kill me. The owners of that used to run the old RetroWare TV.
Yeah.
Those guys, they run Retro World Expo. They partnered together and they now bought SoCal from Jay from Game Chasers. And they're all SoCal dudes. Like, because one of the guys from Retro World Expo in Connecticut moved out to SoCal, owns a game store, so that it's like a SoCal ran convention.
Jay from Game Chasers owned that?
Yeah, he owned it for 1, maybe 2 years. So
crazy! Yeah, I mean, because those guys started Retropalooza also. I thought that was their baby, so I didn't realize they expanded.
Yeah, they had gotten it. Jay had gotten it at some point, and Jay's awesome, by the way, really cool dude. And at some point, and I think they just made him an offer, and he's like, "Oh, I never even thought about selling. That sounds cool." Like it's a piece where I know it's got to be hard to run a convention in a different state. It's got to be a bit of a pain to do it to that level because it's a big beast. And I know he enjoys going around to conventions too as a guest. So it's
I can't believe John doesn't have just completely a gray head of hair at this point from having to put on Game On Expo like every year.
I mean, he's bald, cue ball.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
he had a full head of hair before that. It was like, there
you go. Yeah, actually, after I say that was a ridiculous statement. I forgot that he's bald. Oh well, whatever.
Yeah, that's funny though. But
if he wasn't bald, it would be great. I'll just put it that way.
Well, and the thing is, our guy Scott, that's on our team in Premium, actually used to live out there, and now he's moved to Florida. But he's still going to go out there and support, and he'll be, running some Premium stuff. We're doing the lanyards for it this year, which is really cool. I wish I could.
Hell yeah, dude! I'm rocking one of those at work right now.
Nice. I need to get one. I don't think I've gotten it shipped to me yet because I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah.
So and plus, like for any games we get in, like we are shipping out Raji and They Bleed Pixels. I get one ahead of time to check out for quality control and everything. So I have those already. So basically, I'm just gonna get a little care package from Josh Ashina eventually with the pieces I'm missing. But I do want to see that lanyard because
I'll wear
good. That stuff.
They look really good.
I'll wear it at work too. That's freaking cool, man. Yeah, we got off.
I got one right here. Let me grab it.
We got off on lots of tangents today. I love it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it's right here.
So cool.
Premium edition games, got our logo, PlayStation logo, Switch logo.
Awesome.
Really nice.
Yep, and I mean, I know we are always in a constant moving forward with PlayStation. You're not going to see much coming out of us from PlayStation until you get those pre-orders in hand. Till the pre-orders come in hand, we're not going down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun thing. I know we're working on the latest pre-orders. That's for Switch. That's what we're working on right now, and the NES game, and so that's really fun. So
Yep.
I think it might be a time to transition to what we've been playing.
Yeah.
I got a few games over the last. It's been a couple weeks since VGBS is recorded, so I got about 4 games that I can highlight and go over, which I do quickly, so we get to the main topic of the episode. But first one that I played, you mentioned pro wrestling, and I had finally played AEW Fight Forever. Super fun game. I had talked about it on the last episode that I had started career mode. I was a little bit mad because I had pre-ordered the game on Amazon, and it says on there you can get pre-order exclusive, Matt Hardy, and all this stuff on the text. They had since removed that from the website because Amazon decided to not give money to the main company, and so they didn't get the pre-order exclusive, Matt Hardy. So essentially. Yeah, so essentially I had to buy Broken Matt Hardy and Matt Hardy in order to play as them. I think it only locks one of them at first, and you have to get the other one later or something like that. I went and won the tag team titles. As I was playing through the mode, and then I turned on my partner and beat him up and all that, turned into a heel. But then I stopped playing. This was like weeks ago, and I stopped playing. I haven't picked it up again. Because that AEW Fight Forever was the game that took the place of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom the first time I popped it up.
That's funny. I picked up a copy. I have not played it yet, but I plan on it.
To me, it's super fun, super easy. I haven't had any kind of trouble. Reminds me of the N64 era, like they wanted with modernized graphics.
That's its big draw too. I mean, they're using the same AKI engine or whatever they call that engine.
And it has modernized, a little bit cleaner graphics. Switch version isn't as clean as PS5. I got Switch.
Mm-hmm.
But I was okay with that. Don't care. I just wanted to play a fun game, and it's super fun. I freaking love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. If I had more time.
I love hearing the gripes from people saying that it looks like an N64 era game. Guys, that's the point. It's supposed to be an homage.
I questioned their gamer cred at that point because I'm like, have you played those? Like, this looks way better than those. Like, it is outstanding. It's missing a cage match, but it's outstanding.
Yeah.
The only disappointing thing is I wish you could have more than just 4. I think it's 4 characters in the ring at a time, because I would like at least 6. So we could do trios matches because AEW is big on trios matches. So I would love to have, a little bit of that. But that's my only gripe is more characters because we're in 2023. You can put more than just 4. It's okay, AEW. And, obviously the Creator Wrestler is much more basic than, the current slew of games that have them. But I don't have time to do that, so I'm okay with that. And I did notice over the last week or two, somebody online working on a fan hack of the PC Steam version where they're going to open up and make everything editable. Is that a word? They showed a picture of Roman Reigns looking perfect with everything, and so they're gonna make it so it's like, because people are crazy with this stuff, they're gonna make it like to the next level.
Yeah, keep it up to date with the rosters and the storylines, I'm sure. Yeah, man.
But and one of my favorite things back in the day, and it goes in alignment with the topic of the episode, which is is this Tristan's ideas, games that you love that don't get no love. and the thing is Fire Pro Wrestling returns. You can essentially make an entire roster of every single wrestler in the world. The PS2 version is Fire Pro Wrestling Returns. I remember Kyle and I back in the day had our memory cards loaded with every single wrestler and every single thing. We handmade them all. Freaking awesome. Then they created the new Fire Pro Wrestling World on Steam, and I ain't got no time now. But Returns was like the penultimate version of Fire Pro that was awesome. The logic in there, the CPU logic. But when people want to work within pro wrestling, they're obsessed, they will create awesome stuff. And that's what the AEW Fight Forever fan community is going to do. And I'm excited to see it. I will buy a copy of it on Steam to be able to apply whatever patches they create. Like, I am down. Put me in, coach. I want to play. Like, it's good stuff. What have you been playing, Tristan? Because I got 3 more that I've been playing. But let's do a little bit of back and forth. What else? You got anything?
Since I finally got my life back after finishing Tears of the Kingdom, I was slow playing that game so much, and pouring so many hours into it. I think you said that you were at like 50%. I'm at about 62%, but that's as far as I'm going, man.
Yeah, no, I had to stop. The thing is, I was having fun, but I'm like, it's like, to what point at this piece? Because like, I had even went to the point where I went to the Hyrule Compendium on the phone, and marked on my personal map in the game all the places of interest that I wanted to look at on the overworld, which includes every cave, every treasure chest. I marked it all, like a scavenger hunt.
It's
like,
really neat being able to explore, and you look at the map, you look at the where you've been all over the place, and go and check out some locations that maybe you missed. But after that, like I said, I wanted my life back, so I beat the game, and the only game that I've played since, and I mentioned that I purchased some other games, just like the wrestling game you were just talking about, but the game that I'm playing currently is called Gal Guardians.
Gal Guardians,
and apparently it's called something else in Japan. I couldn't tell you what it is.
Sequel to Gal Gun?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to Google and cheat. Let me see.
Because from a Switch collector perspective, Gal Gun was one that got an exclusive cover, by the way. So you had to there was an error on the cover of Gal Gun, and you had to contact the developer, and they would only mail it to you. So the only way to get it to you was to mail them at a certain point. And I mailed them. And I don't think I bought the game yet, but I mailed them to get the variant cover, so I have it when I get the game.
No, it's so after doing a quick
it's
Google
not
search.
The same.
No, it's not. It's called Gal Guardians Demon Purge. Ooh. And so you're these high school girls. You're going to your high school, and then all of a sudden it turns into this dark castle with a master, and you have to battle demons. It looks like, and the sprite work is just like Symphony of the Night. Really, really smooth animations and stuff.
You look it up right now as you were talking.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. You would love it. The combat is like an old school Castlevania game, but you can tag in either the short melee attack user with low health and high power, or the girl with the gun, the machine gun that has high health and low power. Really, really cool. Both of them are really fun to play as.
That game looks awesome. I swear I've heard of it. I don't know if I have a copy or not, because we buy so much stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to see. There's the Switch physical.
Yes, there is a Switch physical.
Okay, so I will get the Switch physical of it. I'm gonna bring it open on my browser, or it's actually in Amazon. I'm gonna bring it open in Amazon so I don't forget, because I ended up buying Trinity Trigger, even though we kind of both lambasted a little bit. I did buy the collector's edition of that game.
It was so cheap, why not get the collector's edition?
Exactly. So I'm going to keep it open, and I'm going to find out, because maybe I bought it on Steam, and I have it on my Steam Deck.
Yeah, it could be. I think the only platform it isn't on is Xbox. So
yeah. So I'm going to find out, because I have been on a Metroidvania kick, getting Metroidvanias and trying to find every Metroidvania that I am unaware of on Steam. So I've been going down a giant, never-ending rabbit hole when I'm just sitting there at night before I go to bed. I kind of been doing research.
It's not a Metroidvania, But think Rondo of Blood, where
Perfect.
you have,
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, so you have point A, you start at the beginning of the level, you have point B where you're going toward the boss, but there's branching paths where you can take, one way or the other.
Heck yeah.
Whether you have some ability that lets you get there, then you can, replay a level or whatever, but that's how that game plays. And it's very much like Castlevania. There's knockback damage. You can fall into pits.
So we are going back to VGBS Season 1 when we did a thorough analysis of Rondo of Blood. We played it and
very cool.
the game. 100%ed it. All of us.
Wow. Yeah.
And amazing game. So if
Full disclosure,
plays anything like Rondo of Blood.
I love Rondo of Blood, but I've only been able to play or beat it as Maria, which is the cheap way out.
Well, and I will tell you, I enjoy playing it more as Maria.
Mm-hmm.
We do call Richter mode Master mode.
Yes, it very much is.
Classic. That was Kyle's classic, because he refused to play as Maria. I was like, I enjoyed both. I like both.
More power to him. Respect.
And the thing is like once you master everything with Maria, you can then go back. And that's when it kind of blew my mind later when I found out about the Sega Saturn Symphony of the Night, where you could play as Maria, an older version, and it was like the spiritual successor continued on because she has the triple jump now and all that stuff.
Well, if you weren't convinced to get Gal Guardians, this next thing that I'm about to say will convince you to get it if you love Rondo of Blood that much. The enemies have a final attack.
Really?
Yes. Their desperation attack.
That's
just
awesome.
like Rondo of Blood, you can die after you kill the boss.
That's hilarious. I love that. So cheap.
Yeah, I love it too. It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I got to see, because I know I didn't buy it on Switch yet. Because I'm on a I only purchase when I find something I need to get. But I have been buying games more digitally, at least on Steam Deck side, because my Steam Deck is getting loaded. Because I am working on hidden indie gems is what I'm calling it. So I'm working on that book. And Metroidvanias, that's what I'm trying to find, older 4 or 5 year old Metroidvanias that maybe nobody knows about and all that. I know, looking at it, as soon as you said Machine Gun Girl, I'm like, know I saw it. I didn't buy it. I haven't played it. Could be a bullshit homework.
It's really good. Honestly, if you want to do it, dude, yes.
Have you beat it yet?
I can't say anything. It's too new. Spoilers. So no, I have not beat it yet.
Okay, so if you haven't beaten it yet, then it's up for debate for bullshit homework.
Mm-hmm.
I say let's make it happen. I will get it in. Bullshit homework. We'll let it go for a few weeks though.
Cool.
That way it
won't I would love to have another person to talk to about this game.
Okay, let me get it. I will play the Switch version, which means I got to get it in the mail out here in Hawaii.
I have 1 day or 2 day delivery. What does Amazon look like for you?
It gives me a million thumbs up. That's about all it gives me. It's crazy. Oh yeah, it's wild, man. And the thing is,
maybe you'll see it in a week.
Well, it's been a nightmare too, because initially we were going to move into a different part of the island in military housing, and then we found this place to rent that we have here because we were not buying in Hawaii; it's way too expensive. And so we had a PO box that was out in Aiea in a different part of the island. We had set up forwarding to our new place from the Aiea one. So essentially, if something got mailed to my address in Georgia, it has to get forwarded to the PO box and then forwarded to my house. It is insane. An Amazon thing, it's going to take a week or two to get here. But before I order it online, I'm going to see if they carry it at GameStop. And stuff like this, I will find at a GameStop or at a Target, because there's not a whole lot of people buying the game. I'm just not sure if they carried Gal Guardians in GameStop.
Yeah, I really don't go into GameStop anymore, unless I'm going there for a reason, but I don't remember seeing it.
Oh, and speaking of game stores in Hawaii, let me go off on a little rabbit hole. So I had mentioned, or maybe I didn't, but last weekend I went to a flea market. In Hawaii, they have a giant flea market at the stadium here, and it is around the entire stadium, so it's like multiple miles. And it is wild. I go to one vendor. This dude has retro games everywhere. Like, and I'm sitting there looking, and I'm like, he has a Super Famicom right here, sitting on his table, and I'm like, how much is the Super Famicom? He's like, reasonable price. Like, he gave me the price, and I was like, oh, that's not bad at all. I went through. I actually found a copy for the Mega CD of Soldice.
Hey, nice, very cool.
So I got a copy of that. So that's the first retro game I bought on Island. And the guy, so I talked to the dude, Hawaiian dude, really freaking cool guy. Mentioned, a little bit about what I do, and he knew of premium edition games and started to get nervous. And I'm like, so you know what I do? Holy crap. He's like, dude. Yeah. So he's the one who told me about the antique show that I went to today. And he told me there's a Comic-Con next week. Honolulu or Hawaii Comic-Con is next weekend. But he is like the only dude that does retro games on Island in Oahu. Dude.
It's funny you mention that because the entire time I was going there for years, like while I was in the Air Force, I had equipment all over the world. Oahu was one of the places at Hickam Air Force Base and NSA Hawaii. So I would go there periodically, and dude, what a freaking ghost town for anything retro gaming. It doesn't exist. So to hear that there's only one guy and I didn't find him, that doesn't surprise me.
But I got to shoot him up for the Mega CD, minty as hell.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He had copies of what was that? What did I see that was obscure as hell? Was it DuckTales 2? Or he had some obscure NES stuff there. And I'm like, whoa, you have this there? And it was all reasonably priced, well under eBay. Well under Amazon. All the stuff was reasonably priced. And I was like, this dude knows what's up. And so I'm gonna go, and he's like, dude, I get new stock every week, all this stuff. And he also had his wife was there, or girlfriend or whatever, was selling Coach stuff, and my wife got a Coach backpack that she saw there, so she was super happy. So I'm like, well, looks like once a month at minimum we're going to this giant flea market.
Man, I'm jealous.
Miles to walk around. And the funny thing is, there's 3 rings to the thing. It's like the 3-ring circus. The first ring is all Hawaii memorabilia, it's your normal Hawaii swag that you would see downtown Waikiki, which you're familiar with. Then you get to the flea market guys, and it's what I want to see, the garage sales picking through VHS and vinyl.
Sure.
And dude, I was like, we haven't had that good of a flea market experience in probably 5 years. And it was amazing. Went right back to the days of video game bullshit and Kyle and I going to flea markets and talking about it. And that was our heyday. It was going around in Indiana and going to Indianapolis and going flea market hunting and going to Uncle John's flea market in Cedar Lake, Indiana, and hitting them up. This is it again. And I mentioned the swap shop in Lauderdale with the Bill and Mitchell story. That was a flea market area back in the day. That stuff is BL before London. They were 12 years ago, dude.
BL, nice.
BL. So the thing is, now we have that here, and it's 15 minutes away, dude. I could literally go right there. And
it's funny how you got to go to Hawaii to get to a decent flea market, you know.
Dude, and then they got wild stuff. There's a dude carving tiki, Hawaiian dude. So I'm like, I got this crazy looking Dracula looking spike steak that it was custom carved with tiki on it. I got this awesome
that thing looks like it would murder an entire vampire
a vampire. Exactly. And I was like, I thought that was a perfect thing to get because I've been finding lots and lots of cool things. And that steak was not what I showed you a picture of today. I got that.
Oh,
this is different. This is actually a steak. It's a wooden, hard, almost looks like a tooth. It is crazy. What I showed you today was today I found at the antique store.
Yeah, it was jagged.
It was a Balinese. And so it's Indonesian in lore. And the thing is, Hawaii's a melting pot It's this big axe. Everything's hand carved. Has demons on it. There's this big demon on the little demon guy on the top. You pull it out. It's like a big jagged, like it was like NES game demon sword, like blade, and it's all carved too.
Yep.
And I saw that. I was like, this is freaking the most Kyle thing I ever. This is the most coolest thing I ever saw. And we went there looking for some tiki stuff for our guest bedroom. So my wife actually found a parrot that was sold at a oddities store across from the tiki room at Disneyland. And so she found that here for $20. And then I got this totem of tiki guys that was that looks like something from the tiki room too. So that way when we have guests come over, they got a little Hawaii ambiance in the guest bedroom. So that's what I've been looking for. And I get this badass wooden hatchet that is carved. That looks so freaking cool.
Ooh, hey. Sorry, I was just thinking about like the whole island theme that you're going for. I mean, this is kind of off topic, but you've seen Demolition Man, right?
Oh yeah.
You should really confuse your guests with the 3 seashells.
Have the shells in the bathroom.
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
I'll put 3 seashells in the bath. Oh yeah. Only ironically, is like the first couple visitors we're having are nephews on my wife's side, on Andrea's side, and they wouldn't understand. They're too young.
No, it's too bad.
It'd be pretty damn funny though if I put it out there, see what they do. Ironically, is like the only art, because we mentioned posters earlier. The only art I have on the walls here is custom canvases, pixel art canvases that I've gotten from Square Painter, and then I got a robot named Fight done by Ryan, who's on our team. And then I actually made a couple myself. And one that's in the guest bedroom, I did a TNC Surf Designs, the tiki guy riding the skateboard. I made it myself. Yes. And that is on the wall in the game room as well. So I got that piece up there. So there's a piece of video game lore. Like,
oh, dude, if you come across any like Ocean Pacific, does that company exist still? Ocean Pacific?
A little bit. What I did find at the mall right here, 5 minutes, 2 miles from the house, I found Santa Cruz shirts.
Oh yeah,
skateboard. Which again, you're talking Cali games. You got Ocean Pacific.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I grew up in Northern California, so like that sort of stuff was everywhere.
Well, I'm sure I'll see some. I don't know if they have new Ocean Pacific, but I might find old. I mean, I got this, which is TNC.
Yeah, oh, dope. Yeah.
On the country. Now, the characters, this is a good trivia, VGBS style. The characters from TNC Surf Designs were not made by Town & Country. They were licensed, and that license went away after the NES game. Like, sometime after that, in the 90s, it went away. Yeah. That artist still makes merchandise and still does sell stuff. It's called Thrilla Crew, like Thrilla Gorilla.
Yeah.
Thrilla Crew. I think I was wearing a Thrilla Crew shirt. I don't know if I have it sitting here. Maybe I'm lucky. I do. Yes. So I got a Thrilla Crew one.
Oh yeah. That looks familiar.
It's not Town and Country. This one's awesome though. It says "Revenge of the Sponge Riders," and it has.
Dude, how dope would that be if we could get that dude to like do some premium edition, like branded merch,
do some art or something? Yeah,
how sick would that be?
Well, all I got to do is find him out here on island.
Yeah.
And if he's on Oahu, which I don't know, he might be on Big Island. But if I find him. Because the thing was, I was talking with the dudes at Town & Country, because there's a bunch of Town & Country stores around, and they were like, "Hey, dude, just so you know," and I didn't know that license had went back to them many moons ago. So once I did that, and I actually got a coffee mug of an old Japanese style surfing, and then they put the Thriller Crew characters on it. That's my coffee mug at work. So yeah, cool. So I got some TNC merch. I got some Thriller Crew merch, like. I'm wearing my Midwest Gaming Classic T-shirt right now.
Oh, very nice.
From I think it's 2019, right before 2020. But yeah, dude, like so cool. Like it all goes within video games, right?
Mm-hmm.
It all goes within video games. So the other games that I was playing, I will try to talk shortly on them. That never works. So Street Fighter 6, we had talked about it as premium.
Yeah.
So I downloaded it, played it. I had some problems with it. So installation issues. So as I was playing the game, the downloads, it required a damn account to play. And I didn't have one of these accounts. So I was trying to do the account on my phone. And it was interesting because you go into this like hub, this gamer hub as you play. So you're all in this like big interactive hub. Once people stop using it, it's gonna be like dead. Like there's not gonna be anybody there, man. And I didn't even have versus mode when I had the game because it didn't download yet. Because I was like, it was like the downloads and installations got paused because when I went to sign up for the account, it paused the downloads. So then I went to the hub. Only the hub was there. All I could do was like play versus other gamers. And I'm like, well, where the hell's the story mode? Where the hell's the versus mode? And then I went and I got to download them. So all I want to do is play versus mode. I was like, what the heck? So then I went in, started playing versus mode. It's pretty cool. The hub is interesting, and the story mode. You only get like 2 special moves at the beginning of the game as you're playing. So you'll play it, and you have to grind to unlock new moves and do new abilities, and you have to fight low-level characters. You fight everyone, like Yoshimo on the freaking road. You beat the crap out of them. But you only get like 2 special moves, and then you unlock more and more to where you actually get a reasonable amount of special moves. So I thought that was really weird. It actually might make me master the game better, though, I think. But once Premium does a game night or something, it'll be fun because I know we were all talking about doing some like netcode or doing something like that. I thought it'd be pretty awesome. But yeah, I did get it though because I told Josh and told you I was gonna get the game so we could all play it. So I did buy that on PS5, and I feel like it's awesome. It's really fun. Probably
it's really fun.
I've played in a while. Really odd though with that whole installation crap. That was so like.
Yeah, I had some issues too where like it wasn't like fully downloaded or something like that. And anytime I would try and get to a certain mode, it would reset back to
the game.
Yeah, it was like I was stuck in a loop. It was the weirdest thing. I hope they
reset
that
like
because it was
6 or 7 freaking times, man. I was mad.
Yeah.
The funny thing was though, so while I was waiting for all that crap to download and everything, I went to the hub the first time, and I'm a level 1 walking around the hub. This level like 40 dude comes up to me and tries to pick a freaking fight, and then I beat him.
Okay.
Beat his ass as a level 1, and you don't have as much health. So I'm like, what the hell are these people doing? Like, I crushed the dude, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna exit out of this thing. This is weird. Like, there's some dude at all these different crazy. His character looked insane. I'm like, I have the base bullshit you get right at the beginning. Like, I'm like, I'm gonna go get this noob. I'm gonna challenge him, and then I like crushed him. And then it was like, okay, this is dumb. Now I'm leveling up characters, so I think I got through the first chapter, and now I'm going to meet Chun-Li, and then I'm doing that chapter. And again, haven't went back.
I had my my brother over, and he had his like my nieces and my niece and my nephews, and I introduced them to Street Fighter 6 while they were over there. Okay. So I was versing my like 8-year-old nephew and my 10-year-old niece, and it was pretty fun. I mean, they make it really approachable because they have like a modern and a classic mode of controls. So the modern mode kind of puts like special moves to one button. Well, when you're playing against your 8-year-old nephew and all he wants to do is play Zangief and SPDU all over and over and over again, yeah, I got wrecked.
That's actually awesome though. That'll make people play better too.
Yeah, it was funny.
That's funny as heck. That's awesome. So I had 2 more games. I'll save one for the next time. The other one that I wanted to talk about. Have you played Final Fantasy 16 yet?
I have not. I've seen people on YouTube play various parts of it, but I have not. I'm not aware of the story or anything.
If you value your life and sanity, do not play this game because it's going to turn into Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's freaking a modern masterpiece. Like,
oh boy.
The only reason why I haven't went back is out of circumstance that it's on my PS5 and my wife uses it, so I have a good excuse to not play it. But like, so it's a modern masterpiece. I I played the first major section and like blown away. I did not play the demo. I downloaded the demo when I was in Waikiki, never got around to playing it, but I bought it when I bought Street Fighter 6. And I got the regular edition. And like, holy cow. Like, it is literally Final Fantasy meets Game of Thrones. Like,
it looks incredible. It really
like,
does. The combat
like,
looks
I mean,
really tight.
Are you a fan of Game of Thrones at all? Like, did you watch any of it?
I never did. I never did.
Okay.
No.
Like, watch Game of Thrones, like, characters die, and it's like, holy crap. Like it's happening where it's like out of nowhere, all this stuff's happening with different characters you wouldn't expect. And I'm like, oh, they have this whole system behind this one character. There's no way. And it did. I'm like, what?
Holy crap.
The hell? Like, I'm just like,
so they actually have some good storytelling this time.
I mean, and it's mature, so there's cursing, there's smoking,
sure, yeah.
There's right incest or other crazy shit. I don't know if there's incest, but it seemed like it. But super dark, based on stories like Game of Thrones, and you can tell. That game though looks so beautiful, and just like Street Fighter 6, it has assist modes too, but they have it in the form of items. So if you don't want to learn the combo system, you don't want to learn the parry system, there's actually a ring you can equip that'll like make auto parries happen when possible, or it'll make combos happen to where you don't have to worry about stringing them. You can just attack and enjoy the game. So I've went back and forth using that. And the other thing is too is that it's not super open worldy though. So that's the one good thing, if anything, if you want to not lose your life into it. Yeah, is that you're not going to be Zelda style going over an entire open world that I've gotten to yet. It's more so you'll have an overworld map, and then you'll go to the next area. It takes you to the area, and then you clear out and do the story of that area. So it's a little different than I'm used to with Final Fantasy, but it works perfectly because you can pick it up in small stints. So essentially, when I went back to it the second day, I went to the next portion where I'm going after next area. I went and cleared that whole thing out. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to pause now. And so the next time I play it, I'll probably play another piece. I feel like that's going to get over what I called my Final Fantasy 12 problem, where I had put, when I was in Germany, I had put a bunch of hours into Final Fantasy 12, and then I stopped playing it. And then when I went back to it like a year later, I was like, where the hell am I? I don't know what I'm doing. And I was lost. So I would have to essentially restart the game. And I'm like, I ain't restarting Final Fantasy 12. Like, that's not happening. So that's where I never got through it. So I think that will help get rid of that. So yeah, 16, freaking amazing, dude. Like I wish I was like some of our team members where we get to be like house husbands and shit. Like, oh my God. I am so jealous.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Like,
the dream. It's the dream.
Yeah. So jealous of our house husband teammates. like, dude, like, it would be so cool. But it's like, yeah, so it's like this weekend, like, do I want to work on some art and some book stuff, or do I want to play Final Fantasy 16? Forever.
Yeah, I spent time working on my book. All today I was a buddy of mine owns a game store. It's like our local game store, Ben's Game Zone. But he has a vending machine in there, and I convinced him to let me do blind bags for him. So I was building all the blind bags.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You go in there, spend $14, and get a random like Super Nintendo game. It's pretty neat.
That's pretty cool. So you get to be have fun, like working on some retro stuff.
Which reminds me, I need to get some premium edition like postcards or something like that to put in each of the bags.
Yeah,
easy advertising.
Or use your business cards.
Oh no, I've been doing that for myself. No, not the premium edition. Oh yeah, okay. Good point. Good point. I didn't think about that.
Use both.
Hey.
Yeah, and then get some business cards. We'll get them made up, and we'll do some premium ones. That's not a problem. Not a problem at all. I mean, somebody created an awesome ass mat that we're going to be using.
Who did that?
I think it looks retro. It looks like the old Nintendo, like the what is it? The Nintendo Service Center mat.
That's exactly what it's supposed to look like. Yep.
Cool. Oh, I smell what you stepped in, Tristan. Don't worry.
Yeah, I knew you would. I knew you would.
Super cool though. Like I was like, that's an awesome little aesthetic. I think that would be really cool going to conventions and like make it real easy because I mean, as we grow and have more games, like
it just gets complicated, and it's is this one $40 or $50? Well,
45.
Yeah, or 45.
Yeah,
so it's all down in one place.
Craziness. So there is one other game, but I'm gonna save it since we're at 1 hour and 43 minutes on the episode. Episode of the topic, Tristan. Go ahead and lay the wallpaper on the idea for the episode.
Yeah. So, I like to kind of highlight games that people need to play because there are some games that get a bad rap, get a bad reputation based on whatever. I don't know. Just one person didn't like it, maybe made a YouTube video about it, and now it gets ragged on, kind of like Castlevania 2, which is an amazing game.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good example there. But so I wanted to talk about games that don't get enough love. Games that you love that don't get enough love.
Yeah.
And the ones that I chose 4. I could have went crazy.
Okay, cool.
I could have went crazy. But I chose 4 of the ones that were from my childhood. So I went retro.
And so I got 4 old and probably more 6 old and then 2 new. And not super new, but
yeah.
And I didn't also go over like ones that were like hated on, but like some that I feel some are like that I feel like have like gotten overlooked over the years or got forgotten about. And like those in the know definitely have played the games and still enjoy them, but I think the normal gamer may not be aware.
Yeah.
So
the first one that I chose, it's lesser known. It's called The Legend of Zelda. No, I'm just kidding.
Man, what is that?
No, so I was on Super RPG Friends with Frank.
Yeah.
And we somehow got talking about Phantasy Star. And it surprised me to hear that they all hate or kind of don't like Phantasy Star 3, but that's my favorite one. Like, really? I love that game. It's so much fun. Do
you want me to tell you a hidden secret about me?
What's that?
I have never played a Phantasy Star.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's easy to
I have them.
Yeah.
I have all the games in my collection.
Mm-hmm.
I've never played them. The only one I ever played was the GameCube version of Online.
Okay, yeah.
Or no, maybe it's the
honestly, it's unless you were like growing up a Sega person. I mean, Phantasy Star. It's either Phantasy Star or Final Fantasy. You know, like either you were Nintendo or you were Sega.
Getting back into collecting over the years after I got back from Germany and started collecting, Phantasy Star was absolutely on the bucket list to get as a must-own. Getting the Master System and the 3 Genesis, and I did, and I have all 4, and I just never played them. So what is, in your opinion, the best parts of Phantasy Star Tree?
I wouldn't say it's the story, and I think that's where it kind of falls flat with some people. But it's got some really cool turn-based combat, which I'm a fan of. It's got amazing music, and it's got really cool characters.
Okay.
So it's a joy to be able to like grind and upgrade these guys. I don't know. It hits all the right notes for me, and it did whenever I was playing it growing up. But yeah, like I said, I was surprised to hear that.
I'm so jealous that you actually get to have the games in your hand when all mine are like in storage right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
I wish I could have brought on mine. No, it's super cool. I like the visual aids, but
yours are thousands of miles away, and mine are like thousands of inches away.
Mine is Soul Dees. That's the only game I'm talking about because I just got it. No, so continue with this Phantasy Star though. As you were going, I like the little interruption.
Oh no, it's fine. No, I was just gonna say that I was surprised to hear that it got so much hate from these guys. But granted, I haven't played the other ones as much as I did 3, so it just resonates with me because it was one that I grew up playing.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what were they all raving about. Which Final Fantasy Star was their go-to? Was it 2 or 4?
I want to say that it was 2.
So realistically, they just like the first upgrade from the Master System and not the 4, which kind of took the best of 2 and 3 and kind of combined it into
I could be wrong, and maybe it was 4, but I honestly don't remember. All I remember is that
2
they
is
were
what I
hating
hear
on
a
3.
lot. 2 is what I hear a lot. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's the thing, though. I wish I had the time to play so many games. And that's where I'm like, dude, I'm good for the rest of my life. Like, once I retire, like, I'm going to jump into it and hit what games I want to. And maybe we will play a Final Fantasy Star 3 for bullshit homework in the future.
Yeah.
All you got to do is nominate that sucker, and then I'll be forced to play it. I'll have to play it on, like, an Analog Pocket or something.
It's too long. It's too grindy.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really. If we're gonna play it, we would have to play it on an emulator where you could speed up the walking. There's a lot of traversal.
Okay, yeah, that's the one thing. Like, where if we could avoid any games with the also not only walking but the random encounters, that just takes forever.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, guilty there too.
Yeah, that's most traditional console JRPGs. Like, they mostly padded out their progression with
all right, we'll go to a couple of yours before we go to another mine. That way we can space them out.
I'm only going to do 4, so that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So since you went that route, I will go a similar route. It's a perfect segue. So a lot of people talk about and love the Secret of Mana series, and we talked about Trinity Trigger, that was similar and all that. However, I'm a huge fan, and everybody hates on. I love the Secret of Evermore on the Super Nintendo. I freaking love it. I like that it's more of a futuristic version of it, and your dog turns into the wolf, and the wolf becomes a character that you get to play as, and and he gives you hints to find more items. So you're like always getting more and more items, and it's the same as Mana, where you get lost and get hidden. And of course, back in the day as a kid, I didn't know there was a Mana 2. Was it second and Sensu 3? I didn't know that existed. So I was like, oh, this is freaking awesome. I get another Secret of Mana game. And I felt like it was more refined than Secret of Mana back in the day. And a lot of people just hate on it, and they just didn't like change from the fantasy. And I just thought it was such a cool game. And I read it all the time as a kid. I don't know if you got any experience with Evermore, but like...
I never played it, but I watched someone play it. We used to rent JRPGs and stuff like that, and adventure games, and I would go over to a friend of mine, John's house. He had the Super Nintendo. I had a Genesis growing up. So like Chrono Trigger, Breath of Fire, Secret of Evermore, Secret of Mana, we played over at his house.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, and I mean, just Evermore was such a cool game to me. And it's just like Mana. So if you like Mana, you would like it. Everybody hates on it, and I'm like, okay.
It's got a cool story. I remember that.
And you get to do time travel and all that.
Yeah.
It's a wild game, man. So what do you got next, Tristan?
I'm going crazy here. Crazy. Black box.
Uh-oh.
Let's see if you can guess which black box I'm going to highlight. And no, it's not Hogan's Alley.
No, it's not Hogan's Alley. It's probably not Urban Fighter or Urban Champion. Probably not Urban Champion.
Nope.
Hope it's not Clu Clu Land.
It is absolutely not Clu Clu Land. I effing hate that game. Gosh.
Probably not Clu Clu Land. It is. Oh, I got it. 100% Donkey Kong Jr. Math.
No.
You're a huge fan of Donkey Kong Jr. Math. It's the best game you've ever played. Like, you learned your 1+1s there, man. I got it.
Nope. I had a whole lot of fun with this game, and I don't know why. That same friend of mine, John, we used to play this game all the time, and had so much fun with it. And it's so simple, and a lot of the the gameplay mechanics are still used in these types of games today. It's just golf.
Oh,
So simple. One of my favorite golf game now is on Neo Geo called Neo Turf Masters,
that's a
and
great one.
I'm good at that game because of this game.
See, and I never had that game, but I had NES Open.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah, most people did, and I never played NES Open, but I played golf. I played a ton of this, and I had it down to a science. Like I could get freaking hole in ones like constantly.
And well, the funny thing is that like I used to play it with our buddy Eric Keenan, as we call him. But we used to play NES Open all the time, and we would just play like 18 holes or whatever. I never played through the match play mode where you play versus players.
Yeah,
that's
we always did.
Level up the game in NES Open is how you level up the game. So like mine always said B at the beginning for beginner. I never got to amateur, semi-pro, or pro. You get to beat those characters. I remember, like, at one point, I think I had beaten the beginner guy, and it turned to an A, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, it was crazy. And then I realized, holy cow, there's a whole mode to this game that I didn't even know existed, because, like, we would just play it versus each other all the time and just have fun. We either do match play or 18. I always play it with other people. I never played by myself. And, like, it just mind-blowing. That game was so fun, too. It was basically... same as golf. Is just a little bit different.
Yeah, with Mario, it's golf with Mario instead of golf with random bland guy, whatever his name was.
I thought that was Mario. I was like, that is not Mario.
No, it wasn't.
Some Osan or something is his name, I think, or something like that.
Oh, really? Yeah, I gotta look that
up. Because there's a game on the Wii called like Captain Rainbow or something, and you go and like try to rescue a bunch of different lost mascots, and Osan's there fat, and he's sitting over there like,
no way,
please help me. He's there.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mascots. It is a weird game, but it looks so cool. Yeah, there's so many little sad, like forgotten mascots in that game.
I love the premise of that. That's really funny.
Yeah, the game is so wild. It never got a U.S. release. It was only Japan, only on the Wii. Mm-hmm. I remember playing it via the Homebrew channel or whatever it was back in the day, because I had a loaded hard drive at the time.
Fun. My loaded Wii is right over there.
Nice. Yeah, I've moved so much now that I don't even know which hard drive would be the one with the Wii stuff on it. I've probably ruined it or overwrote that hard drive, and those games are gone, which stinks because they're gone. But
that's another topic for another day. Especially with Kelsey highlighting the fact that 80% of the games that have come out have no physical or unplayable or something like that, are lost to time.
It's crazy. In a official capacity is the key.
Yeah, in an official capacity, correct. Yeah. One just slightly down the river, since we're talking about the Homebrew channel on the Wii, one of my favorite series that came out on the Wii was, and I don't know if you remember this website, you probably do, homestarrunner.com.
Oh, yeah.
Homestar Runner.
Game
and Strong Bad.
Handsome people or something. I remember that game.
But they had, exactly. Something for handsome. Yeah.
There's like 5 episodes on the Wii.
5 episodes, and they were all point and click adventures. It's so much fun. I wish they would have come out with a collection.
Yeah, we used to watch that when I was in college, and you'd have Homestar from Homestar Runner, and
Homestar
you have Hamsar. He's like,
strong bad, strong mad, strong sad,
strong sad.
Trogdor.
Ironically, I have the Trogdor board game that they released.
Yeah.
And I got the extra meeples. There's like a bunch of little wooden meeples that I have with it. I've never opened it, so it's in storage thousands of miles away. But I do have Trogdor the Burninator, the game.
Awesome. I used to have a shirt that I used to rock, but that was a skinnier me.
Classics, man. Yeah, it's a classic thing. So you talked about NES. So now I have to talk about NES. I got a couple, but I will talk about one that leads into another. So a game that's in my top 5, probably my top 2 on the NES is Double Dragon 2.
Oh,
Love
that's
Double Dragon.
right.
Friggin' love that game. I can master it. That was Kyle and I. We're the Double Dragons. We actually would set the world record on dual play, not single, but dual play together. And we could play it on Supreme Master on the Famicom version and master it. No hit. So fast forward to now, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, Double Dragon 4 comes out. Double Dragon 4 is literally a spiritual successor to Double Dragon 2 with some Double Dragon 1 and 3 aesthetics thrown in for good measure. But it's Double Dragon 2. And everybody eviscerates that damn game. They say it's not Double Dragon Neon. It's not as cool. I'm playing it. I'm like, not only do I get to play Double Dragon 2 and go through the mission, and there's way more characters and enemies and all that, but you can unlock them, and they have this unlimited tower mode. And at the end of the unlimited tower, they have the characters from Double Dragon 1, Double Dragon 2, and Double Dragon 3 in it that you can unlock and play as them in the main game. So you can play as Billy from the original Double Dragon 1. You can play as Kin from Double Dragon 3. And then at the very end, if you can get 50 levels on the tower, you can play as the original Shadow Boss on Double Dragon 2, the guy with the green hair that I had done a paintings of. Shit. You can play as him in the game. And it's like such a cool thing to be able to do. And so to me, it's like, not only did it capture like what the NES games were for Double Dragon, but also had all my nostalgia of Double Dragon 2 because you could play as those characters in the game. Play as a Bobo. You can play as Burning Up. You can play as...
Speaking of a Bobo.
Yeah. You are the
I got some Abobo hair going on right now.
You pull that off and it's ball.
Not quite.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah, it's close.
Not quite. Yeah, you're more what we used to call Mexican Abobo from Double Dragon 2, where he had the hair, but he actually was called Bolo in Double Dragon 2, which is ironically a shout out to Enter the Dragon, where Bolo was the main character who had all the hair and the beard.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, his name was Bolo. We always call him Mexabobo because he was like he's a classic looking, like Mexican looking version of a Bobo. But then again, Bolo is not Mexican, so it's kind of funny, kind of crazy. And Burning Off we always called Helmet Head. But yeah, so Double Dragon 4, like it gets eviscerated. If we could have published the physical Double Dragon 4, I would have been a happy camper, because at one point when we started Premium, it was not announced by Limited Run at that point. And I would have jumped at the opportunity to do Double Dragon 4 because I love that game.
Have you seen that Double Dragon Gaiden is out on Switch now?
Yes, and it's by the same guys that did Streets of Red, from what I'm tracking.
Yeah, Modus Games or something like that.
Yeah, I want to say on the old Premium Playcast, we had played that game as a game of the week or whatever. Streets of Red when it came out, because we were this is before Premium was a thing, and I think we had gotten the game as a demo or something. It was awesome, and so I haven't played it yet. I do have a copy on Steam already, and looks cool. Looks really
I got my Switch copy. I just have not sat down and played it yet. Plan on it.
Okay, so it's already out physically on Switch.
Yep, it is. Yep.
Nice. It is a wild world we're in, where they're pushing out these AAA, these bigger IP intellectual property games like fast.
Yeah, seriously, and without any fanfare either. Like,
it's like, oh, big deal. We got awesome ass Double Dragon game. It's like, what? Like, that would have been a big deal if we had done it. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's another topic for another time. Like, the current era of physicals and how there's so much coming out to the point where it's like nothing is special like anymore.
Yeah,
because
it's just oversaturated.
Like week of, awesome, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Like Pikmin 4's out, and it's gone. like it's just fire and forget, man. And like it's to me, it's like we'll be sitting here talking about Tears of the Kingdom, and like everybody's moved on from it. Like we haven't. Like we're still talking about it for weeks, and it's a part of our psyche now. And it's like I'll go back. So that's where it's like it feels like it's a weird thing in the community where they're always chasing the dragon on the next thing. Double dragon, pun intended. Chasing the dragon on the next thing. And it's so odd to me. It's like, dude, I just want to play cool stuff.
Yeah.
What do you got? What do you got for the next one, Tristan?
Next. Oh, shoot. I should have grabbed the other one.
Uh-oh.
See. You know what? I'm going to substitute this one for something else that I don't have next to me. Solar Jetman.
Woo!
I love that game.
Interesting.
It's really difficult. You have to have a lot of patience. But man, I love that game. Like the physics that are in the game, like, you know, there's gravity, there's different types of gravity on different planets. You have to so the premise of the game is that you're after this golden warp ship, but you have to get pieces of it in every
flying through the corridors on the level and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think I think that a lot of gamers, especially even NES collectors, haven't played this game enough to the point where they even know how cool it is. Because I feel like, you know, like it's been overlooked so much. And it was on the cover of Nintendo Power, was it not?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I thought it was back in the day.
No, it absolutely was.
Yeah, and it looked super freaking cool. I never played it as a kid. And it wasn't until later when I was completing the cart-only NES collection with Kyle that we actually had played it. And I'm like, holy cow, this game is odd. It's like Lunar Lander combined with a couple other different games. And it is fun. Never beat it.
It was one of Rare's first NES titles. It's just a whole lot of fun. So if anyone out there is confused about this game or isn't familiar, dude, pop it in. Like, it's a budget title. You'll probably end up paying like $10 at a retro store for Solar Jetman, but you're gonna get way more money for, you know, out of it than that. You'll get your money's worth.
Well, and the thing is like NES is so crazy when it comes to sealed and boxed versions, but getting carts is still reasonable.
For a lot of good games.
It's crazy. It's funny, like back when I was in Maryland many years ago and London was still young, and some antiquities guy was trying to tell me that Nintendo was going to go the way of Atari, and then they had not predicted the whole Wada insanity. Dude, freaking crazy.
Speaking of Wada, dude, that's funny that you mention it, because my mother-in-law called me out of the blue today and said that she was watching Pawn Stars, and that you know, she kind of set it up that someone's going to be bringing in like a Holy Grail from the NES and whatever, and I'm like, stop right there. I know exactly which episode.
Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I know exactly what episode you're going to talk about. I know exactly what people are going to be on the show. They're fraudsters. And yeah, whatever, you know.
I mean, because there's 2 Nintendo episodes. There's also the Nintendo World Championships episode where the NES Punk brought us in fakely and was not going to sell it, but just.
Oh, I didn't know that one. Oh,
yeah,
geez.
And that one he came
so scummy.
On. Well, the thing is, that's what Pawn Stars is for the show.
I know.
They bring in people, and
it's entertainment.
And Dennis Kahn was the evaluator of it, that one too.
Was he really?
I think he was. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. Maybe I'm crossing. Actually, I think I'm crossing the streams because it was funny because I think I remember the guy they brought on to validate Pat's game didn't know anything about Nintendo, not as much as like we all do. And I thought it was pretty freaking funny. But no, there's 2, and that's just how it is. I mean,
yeah, I get it. I get where Pat's coming from too, because like if I were offered by Pawn Stars, you know, to come on and whatever, I'd probably do it too, to be honest. So no shade toward him. It's whatever.
Yeah, but it was funny. But yeah, the whole one where they brought on the Super Mario one. The interesting part is that Dennis Kahn also owned part of it, or the Heritage Auctions guy owned part of that when he went on the show. But I've known Dennis.
That's the scummy part.
So it's like weird. It's just weird and wild, and you know, again in the grand scheme of things, it's
well,
funny.
exactly. It goes down to how much does it really matter in the scheme of things. It doesn't, but it matters to us because we're in that world.
Exactly. It's wild. What a wild. So with my next game, should I stick, since you went with NES, should I stick with NES? Because I had a couple more that I could talk about.
Oh, you can go any direction you want. Like NES was what I mostly played growing up, so that's just what I grabbed.
So let's talk about this game. PNC Surf Design.
Yes.
So scale back all the way to the time when I got my first Nintendo as a hand-me-down from my sister. It had Mario Duck Hunt and PNC Surf Designs. There were the two games that came from my sister. She just gave it to me because they weren't playing it. And I had played so much of that game. I can essentially play the skate session forever and keep playing it and keep playing it. The surfing to me is a little repetitive because all you got to do is once you learn how to do the jump, like you're just hoping that you don't get hit by a seagull. And as soon as you know when the seagull's gonna hit, if you can time the sound right, you can never get hit by the seagull. So I can essentially loop that whole game forever and play it forever. It's so fun. I had the whole level memorized. I can do all the pieces. And nobody really talks about it. Everybody remembers it, but that game to me is like super, super fun platforming.
I can't mention TNC Surf without in the same breath mentioning California games, because both of those to me are so similar in feel.
It's like you're reading my list, Tristan. That's the next one.
Is it?
List. And
I love that game. I love California games.
However, mine are for the Commodore 64.
Really?
Because I had California games, summer games, and winter games on Commodore 64. There are some games on Cali games that are better than the NES version. So Footbag, way better on the Commodore 64. Way better. Plays so much better. BMX plays way better. And surfing plays way better on the Commodore 64. Now, skating, NES all the way. You can't even, on the roller skating one, you can't even skate on the damn Commodore one. Like it's terrible. And then, I mean, the flying disc is about the same on both. The sad story for me, though, is that as the magnetic disc got played so much, eventually surfing stopped working, and then eventually flying disc stopped working. So I could never play. They would just load forever and never load. And then I go into summer games, because summer games on the C64, it's better in all versions. And I have world records on that game. Like diving, I can do a perfect dive. Like nobody. Like I did it on camera. That was, going back to what we talked about earlier about Twin Galaxies. That's when I knew they were corrupt as hell, because I had recorded my summer games on with a legit Commodore 64 when I was in Indiana. I had a second camera on me, so I had two cameras on summer games. I set the perfect diving record, and then they gave me a bunch of bullshit like they couldn't accept it. And I'm like, dude, it's on an actual Commodore right now. There's no video feed. I don't have the equipment to record from original Commodore over to whatever computer, 10 years ago that I had. Like, it was like, dude, I'm just recording with an actual camcorder like they did back in the day. Here's the damn video. Yeah. Like, I ain't fancy. They're like, well, how do we know that you're not using a bootloader or something? I'm like, you can see the Commodore right there. There's nothing plugged into it. It's just the disc. Like the bootloaders. Because, you can plug Epix, which, that's why Epix went out of business, by the way, was because of the Epix fast loader. I don't know if you knew that. Because Epix is the one who created Cali games, summer games, winter games. Yep. They went out of business because on their Epix fast loader, they literally just created another operating system for Commodore 64 that was better optimized than the actual Commodore operating system.
Oh, yeah.
And it was illegal. They weren't allowed to do that. So they got sued. They went out of business. I think they, trickled out of business. I don't think it immediately. But anyways, they're like, we don't know if you're using a bootloader with cheats and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I don't have it. And you can see the console right there. So that's why I knew they were all full of shit. This was before Jace Hall bought it, mind you.
Yeah.
It was before the current regime that's, trying to salvage what's left of the reputation. That's where I was a little bit mad, because I was like, dude, Okay, I'm done, and I just stopped doing records because I was like, this is some BS.
I love talking about all this stuff because it makes me. It reminds me of things that I've forgotten.
Yes.
In my gaming career, we'll call it
Career.
my
A career.
gaming career. But rather than tell the story that has to do with what you reminded me of, I think it's actually a really good topic for next time. I want to talk about
Okay.
demo discs next time.
Ooh, okay, yes, let's do it. And maybe, just maybe, when I tell you a story next episode, you'll be able to figure out what the hell this game is because there's a hidden game out there that I've played on a demo disc that I've never found.
Okay.
It's similar to my Wardner story. As I story to you before,
I don't think
where
so.
I had played this game back in the day, and it had music, and I sing the music on the episode. And essentially, later on, when I was going through MAME in random mode, I heard the song. I'm like, oh, what the hell was that? And I
You
had
found it.
played it's the game Wardner, and it was the arcade version. It was at this place called Tobe's Other Place in Cedar Lake, Indiana, where I played the arcade, but it was called Hyros. And that's why I can never find it because it had a different name in the US. In Japan, it was called Wardner. It has a Sega Genesis version and it has a Famicom version. And they both aren't as good as the arcade. But it's a classic little platformer. The music's so good in it, like the actual music. And yeah, I mean, I may have even sang it on the first episode 101. I may have sang it on episode 101 when we
Yeah,
recorded.
now that you're telling the story again, it does sound familiar. It probably is. Yeah, I think you did.
There's a similar thing to that, but with demo discs that I can talk about. So that would be freaking cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
Let's
that'd be a good topic.
Demo discs. You throw it in here.
Yeah. So my final game, and it's funny because it ties into a couple things that are in my gaming career.
Okay.
We'll just make that a thing, I guess. I have a gaming career. Know the guy who I don't remember his name, but I know you know his name. The guy who made the Goofy Foot controller.
Yeah, Steve DeLuca.
Steve DeLuca. Do you play inverted or do you play regular, like whenever you play first-person shooters?
Brother DeLuca. I play regular.
I play inverted. And it's because of this game, and it's because of this game's. I mean, Goofy Foot. Where does that come from, Jeff?
Comes from how you switch up when you're skateboarding.
I know, but he probably took it from this game also because it's a skateboarding game. Skate or Die.
I mean, it's Skate or Die. Yeah.
Yeah. Skate or Die. So you can either have regular controls where left is left and right is right, or you can play Goofy Foot where right is left and left is right. I always play Goofy Foot.
Now, knowing Steve DeLuca, he is from Cali and he's a skateboarder. So,
it's probably not this, but
well, no, I mean, he may have absolutely gotten it from Skate or Die, but he grew up skateboarding too. So I'm going to ask him. Let's phone a friend and let me call him right now live. No, I'm kidding. But I will ask him. I'll shoot him. Let me shoot him a text message while you're telling the story. Continue the story. I'm going to hit up DeLuca.
Yeah, because I want to know if it's from his skating career or if it was because of Skate or Die that it's called the Goofy Foot controller. Because Goofy Foot, to me, I wasn't a skater, but I played Skate or Die and I love that game. The downhill mini game in Skate or Die was my favorite, and playing Goofy Foot, super cool, so much fun, and I don't think this game gets enough love. When you think skating games and popular skating games, of course you're going to think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I
mean,
was
Skater
there
a classic, dude? Huh? It's a classic. Skater Die is a classic game.
It is, but I mean, you just don't get it. I don't think it gets the respect it deserves. Because I really don't think that there was another skating game, skateboarding game before it. Was there?
Well, and to me, it was a huge deal when that game was when it first came out on the Commodore 64 in the States. It was a big deal because I remember. Do you remember the Computer Chronicles, Tristan? I'm old. Do you remember the Computer Chronicles?
I don't.
So this was a television show on PBS where they would talk about upcoming computer software and computer games. And when this came out, like Skate or Die, it blew my mind. That I'm like, holy cow! Because like normally they're talking these calculator games, these high-level, highbrow games, and I'm like, oh, this is like actually a skateboarding game. Like, what the heck? Yes. So I actually watched that. As soon as I saw that, if you look at the Computer Chronicles, it's like the Computer Chronicles are on PBS now. Like it's like one of those type of shows. Yeah,
I'm going to write that down so I don't forget to look it up.
Computer Chronicles, and
Chronicles.
one of the it's a much later episode too. They talk about and here's the thing. It'd be funny if I misremember. You know, like talking about Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
Berenstain Bears. Talking about that. Like it could be one of those Schrodinger's like cat type deals where I'm misremembering the name of it, but like. That was a classic episode because I remember them talking about the Commodore 64 back in the day on that show, and that's like kind of got my brother into it and all that. And but like Skate or Die was a big deal, and then when it came out on the Nintendo, it was kind of like it was in the rental scene. I always saw it. I remember also seeing
I rented that one until I bought it.
Ski or Die, and then Skate or Die 2. But Skate or Die
not
1,
as good in my opinion.
No, definitely not. Like they knocked the first one out of the park, and I feel like the other ones that came out kind of took away some of the thunder, some of the steam of Skate or Die, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Freaking craziness. Yeah. So, since we talked about NES a lot, and I had talked about Super Nintendo, let me go a little newer. Do you want me to go like Nintendo 64 era, or do you want me to go PS3 era? Because I got one for each. Both are kind of unappreciated, kind of going to the radar. One goes in alignment with something that you brought up. One doesn't.
I'm gonna go kind of funny here because I don't know if I've mentioned the fact that I'm a N64 hater.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. So the N64 game that I feel is very unappreciated and goes in alignment with Solar Jetman. I absolutely love Blast Corps. I don't know if you've heard of Blast Corps.
Yeah, okay. Blast Corps.
Holy cow, that game is so awesome. That was always my damn staple. So whenever I would play emulators, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out for lag, and then Blast Corps if their N64 emulator didn't suck. Because it would never load Blast Corps. Because that game is so good. Essentially, it's like not a racing game, but you're racing against this big old tanker that's going to as a nuclear bomb.
Okay. I was going to ask you if I was remembering correctly, but there's like a tanker or something on the loose, and you have to like.
And you start off with like a little bulldozer, and you got to bulldoze all the buildings out of its way, and then there's all these beacons you can get, and characters you're going to lock to get extra levels, and you go back in after the tanker's done, and then there's this dump truck that you got to swipe. And then there's this side swiper that goes like this and explodes. There's multiple robots. There's one where he flies in the air and you can crash down on top of them. There's this motorcycle with different with bombs. There's this little fast looking thing that looks kind of like a remote control car, but then you push a button and it shoots out fast stuff so you can jump on top of it. The game is so awesome. It is one of what I feel is like one of the most hidden gems on the 64. It is on Rare Replay, so it's on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
It isn't as fun on there for me as it was on the N64 because you don't have the N64 analog stick, which worked perfect with that. That initially, though, was a rental game for me. And I remember Keenan and I, Eric, we were playing it, and we played it like all weekend. And usually I had to give back the rental games like during the next week, right? And in Indiana, we had a snow day. And so I got an extra day with Blast Corps. And what people didn't realize was, because it was back in the day before the internet, you can get through and you get bronze, silver, or gold based on everything that you did in the level, the time, and then what you collected. And then once you get all golds in the whole game, it opens up platinums. And we had gotten all the platinums. Once you get all the platinums, you go to different planets and get to play Blast Core in Mars and on Mercury, and it is freaking great. So we had mastered 100% of the whole damn game, and it was so freaking cool. Like that game, I just remember, like, because we had a snow day and school got canceled. I brought my 64 over to Eric's house. We were playing it. We mastered the crap in his little like den and had such a good damn time playing Blast Core. And like that game is to me what N64 gaming was about, because in general 64 was disappointing as hell for me, and I ended up buying a PlayStation because the games were coming out so freaking slow back in the day. Like I got Mario 64 with my N64 on launch day as a birthday present from my sister. Cool as hell. And then it was like waiting forever, and then Wave Race is out, cool. And then waiting forever, and then something else comes out, like WCW vs NWO World Tour or something else. But like, and then I would rent games for weekend getaways with friends, but it was like it was such a disappointment compared to the PlayStation for me. But Blast Core itself, man, that game is probably, outside of Zelda and Mario and that stuff, like that is probably my all-time favorite. That's non-Nintendo licensed. Such a freaking hidden gem.
Yeah, and Blast Core to me, I mean, it's interesting because it's a genre unlike any other. I mean, what do you call it? A puzzle game? Seriously, there are some games that are just beyond definition because they're so unique. Kind of like, if you look at the PlayStation 2 and look at Mr. Mosquito.
Yeah.
Like what? How do you define that game? You can't, because there's nothing like it. And that's Blast Core. So that's where the majority of the Nintendo 64 library does not hold up today, there are those games every once in a while. Yes, for lack of a better term, hidden gem. They're there. You just got to find them.
And we can absolutely use the term hidden gaming gem because I wrote the book on it before it was a coin term.
That's true.
So like there is.
You should have trademarked it, buddy.
Well, technically, if you use something for a year uncontested, technically, I think I owned it before Metal Jesus Rocks.
You should try it. You should try trademarking.
I don't care. Like he made the term popular. That's cool, Sal.
I think he owes you for damages.
Yeah, he wasn't even the first one to use it either. So that's the other thing. But yeah, no, it's like there's always an exception to any crappy ass console. I mean, the Virtual Boy has Wario Land.
Yeah.
Like there's always something out there that makes something like a whole console worthwhile.
Yeah, so
maybe not the CDI, maybe not the Philips CDI, but like
where I'm a self-professed Nintendo 64 hater, and back in the day, like we played all the hits. I just don't think that it aged well, but even from me, I will admit that the Nintendo 64 does have hits. So don't dismiss a console that you hate for whatever reason. There are hits out there.
Well, and then just don't play it on the 64, but play it on Rare Replay with the better optimized graphics. And because like the one issue with N64 is that they put on, I think, or took off anti-aliasing, or it gave it a cloudy. They did that on the console because
cloudy.
I remember on my Action Replay, I could disable that on my TV, and it looked clear on my television. And they did that as a smoothing feature for CRT televisions.
Mm-hmm.
So, so live on the podcast, do you want to hear the answer from Steve DeLuca?
Let's hear it.
Because he said, first thing he said, "Look at you on this new time zone," and gave me a double exclamation. So the answer is, just like we thought, Tristan, a little bit of both. He literally grew up as a skater, but he absolutely played Skate or Die. And he had told me the story, but I could not remember which it was.
A follow-up question for him.
He's still typing, so he's going to type more context for us.
Okay, ask him if he if he played Goofy Foot on Skate or Die.
Okay.
If not, he's a fraud.
That's gonna be funny. Did you play Scooby-Foot on Skate or Die? Now, you know the whole thing as we're waiting for him to type his piece. You do know the whole real life history making thing that the Goofy Foot controller did do, right, Tristan? Like he made this thing, which is literally a backward playing Nintendo NES controller, right? It's a cool gimmick, really cool. But it is
it's super
now
cool.
part of history. So the Tetris World Championships, right?
Yeah, that's right.
He's very involved with the Tetris World Championships. And he had started a Goofy Foot version of it as the Tetris World Championships.
Yeah.
I played one time and I was like undefeated on it because I was the only one playing. It was great. I can do a claim to fame in like 2016 that I was undefeated on Goofy Foot, or 2018 or whatever year I did it. But the modern gamers on Tetris, a lot of them now swear by Goofy Foot with the new hyper tapping style because the way that they're hyper tapping, they're rolling, and because of the way the buttons are backward, it's actually more conducive with the brain where you don't have to switch the button. So now they go like this, and they can set faster than ever because the documentary Ecstasy of Order, Tetris Masters, which is an amazing documentary, talks about the maxing of certain levels. Those maxes are gone now. Like they can play forever, infinitely with the hyper tapping. You can move faster than you can ever tap with a controller. So Steve DeLuca says he was definitely in the heart of SoCal skateboarding and surfing growing up. So I knew what it meant in those worlds as a Goofy Foot. And I'm sure I paid attention to the word back then because of Skate or Die. So when they're talking, like he knew of Goofy Foot, but it brought more, it brought it more into his mind because of the game Skate or Die. Yeah. And now he's typing, so he's going to let us know if I'm not going to let him know that you think he's a fraud if he can play Skate or Die. But no,
okay. If he is, then tell him to watch this segment.
Oh, I will, and I'll watch as he gets led into this trap by St. Tristan of Ibarra.
I don't know if he remembers me, but like I did meet him at Let's Play Gaming Expo, and he was so freaking nice. Like I was super excited to like play it. I earned the pin. I played Super Mario Brothers 2 using his Goofy Foot controller. And like he was so excited that I was excited about his product. Like he sent me like a t-shirt and like some other stuff. It was awesome. Really cool, dude.
So he walked into Tristan's trap.
Yes.
So here's what he said. He said, I did not play Goofy Foot on Skate or Die.
You fraud! You're a fraud!
However, that's when he realized later that he would just turn the controller around and use the D-pad on the right in the directions as left is left and right is right. So he would just spin it around. And that's how he came up with his software mod that he does.
Hell yeah, bro. So it does stem from Skate or Die.
It does.
It had to.
It's absolutely not a fraud, too. Like, that's the thing.
I know.
Like he spun it around and he did his thing. But it's like he walked into the trap, but then he covered from the trap.
You know I love you, buddy.
We love DeLuca. No, DeLuca is like one of my favorite humans.
He's so freaking cool, man.
And yeah, when I went to there was a convention out in Cali. Like I brought London with me, and London and his daughter Lola hung out, and Scott on our team, his daughter Gwen, all hung out and built these custom Game Boys and had a great time. And I stayed at Steve's house and hung out. Stayed on his futon. Classic Steve. Like is a good stuff. He's still going. Yeah, it's just a software mod versus Steve does the hardware mod. Mm-hmm. So basically, Steve decided on the hardware mod version.
Yeah.
Because, is it because of Skate or Die, or is it in spite of Skate or Die? The world may never know.
Yeah, we'll leave that up to debate.
Exactly. Or we just bring on DeLuca on one day. And
hell yeah, that'd be cool.
Like, well, that's the thing about doing this video game bullshit. Continuation is I do want to bring on all the people that I've met over the years and have a good time. That's why getting Kevin Kale back on after all these years was cool as hell. Dude is so busy now though, like he'll never come on hardly ever. he has announcements and craziness that he has coming up too. But he's a classic. Also, why the Game Chasers really know me is because of Kevin Kill. So that's pretty funny. Back in the day.
Hey, one thing that I forgot to mention. I was gonna work on I had an idea for an intro for VGBS. And so I reached out to David Hayter on Cameo and was going to pay some money. Yeah, he didn't want to do it. It would have been so cool.
That would have been awesome.
I'll tell you the plan later, but yeah,
that's awesome.
Oh well.
No, but it's like so a classic thing is like we did our first episode, Has the Angry Video Game Nerd Jumped the Shark, and we got on some radars because the controversy of poking at a YouTuber, even though we talk nice. But we had mentioned the Game Chasers, and they weren't super happy. It wasn't them; it was some of their listeners or whatever. And they knew who I was because of that, but not because of that, but because Kevin on our podcast would go on their channel and troll them on their comments, same time. And he wasn't doing it because of video game bullshit. He was doing it because of his KWK Box channel where he was recording videos, and Kyle would be on there sometimes too. Mm-hmm. And so. I had at that point already met like people, and like Alpha Omega Sin was friends with the Game Chasers, and he used to write for my website. He used to write for the Video Game Masters Club on my website, and they all said, "Well, I'm responsible for everyone in my podcast." I'm like, I can't tell that dude what to do. Like, so we ended up like after season 1 or so parting ways and all that deal. But it was like for a while because he went more into KWK Box. That's why Kevin stopped being on VGBS, but then later on, I had done a video because there were some people going after Woodhawker and the Game Chasers and a bunch of people online. There was no reason that they were going after him, but they were just trying to get whatever. And I was on Gamester 81 with John. We used to do some game talk. And we went to bat for those dudes, and they appreciated that later. So then we mended fences many.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
Me, I didn't do anything, but I was like on the radar or something. Like it was just I don't deal with drama, but it was just like funny because of another dude. So Kevin's a classic. He's a crazy ass. He does what he wants. Like he's just like, I'm gonna let anybody tell me what to do.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, so. It's a fun thing, and it's video game bullshit. What do you want to do? If you like Limited Run, not liking us because we mentioned their name on the podcast, and it's like, dude, hey, Limited Run, stop releasing so many damn games all the time. We can't keep up.
Yeah, I love some of your products. A fraction or a percentage of your products. What percentage I won't say, but I love some of your stuff.
Well, and I mean, at this point, we can tell which ones you care about because there's a little more attention in those, a little more feeling in those, and because that's what we do with all of ours because we take it slow. Then there's the rinse and repeats, and you can tell, absolutely tell, and the community can tell. However, if we were in that boat having to put out that many games, who's to say if we'd be able to keep the same identity? So you can't necessarily, you always got to play devil's advocate on yourself.
Absolutely.
But you also could just stick to your guns and do what you want. But hey, Jealous, they got some awesome IPs. I mean, hell, if we'd have got the Castlevania Advanced Collection, I would have absolutely jumped on that.
But, you kidding me? As a lifelong Castlevania fan, I'll say it right now. My next book, the Castlevania Collector's Field Guide.
Hell yeah, that's gonna be amazing. Yeah, we'll have to bring out that crazy tiki spike that I got. I'll spike it through the actual book.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love Vania. That's amazing. Yeah, I am. I'm working on NES, and then after that, I gotta put a bow on Genesis. I have to. Complete Genesis has been done for so many years. Like I gotta reformat and get it gone, and then. Who knows where I'll go from there? We'll see. Because I'll still be working on Switch Collector, and that's
and there's just too many things to write about. And not enough time. Like Jeff was talking about. We're not fortunate enough to not. We're not rich enough to not work. So.
Well, and like the thing is too is that being a small business owner, you put everything back into the business. So like,
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
not there's no crazy as much as as awesome as Premium is doing and everything. Like we put everything back into it so it can just get bigger and we can do more with it and do better quality and like it's just how you do it. If you care about what you do, you got to make sure it's successful, and that's what we do. And it's like the other thing is, it's not like we're not like still writing like some strategy guides and stuff. Like Sunshine's coming up this fall, and I know St. Tristan of Ibarra is taking the layout skills because fortunately with that one we have a community member that did supply us with Camp Sunshine's strategy guide. So that's in PDF form or whatever. Or is it a crazy layout? I think it's really rough, but it's done. It's very thorough. I am assuming that dude has done one for Manor at this point, but that's a bad assumption because
if not, I mean, it's not like it's something I can't handle, but that would make it way easier. Hopefully he has.
it's adding on to what we do, right? So it's like doing this to this. I mean, heck, there's a game coming out. We've announced it on the last Premium Direct, and that's Anuchard, right? The Zelda-like game. Those developers, they have a 132-page art book. I don't know if you knew this, but they had sent us stuff, and there's a 132-page art book. The thing is, we're not doing a deluxe with this game, and so it's like, well, like you were going to do like a little mini guide with it because it'd be pretty cool to kind of have a little guidebook with it. Just to, so what? So now we have to go through this art book and. So it's interesting. Is like I don't think we're gonna do the hardcover art book because it's they already have done that, and we don't want to just rehash because we would do it our own way. It's kind of like what we did with Raji, where they had this art book, but we redid it from every aspect, and that's the one piece that we're still waiting for shipping because it hasn't arrived yet, and it's gonna arrive to us, and we do a packaging as well on some of the books and stuff. So that's the one piece we're waiting for the Raji Collector's Edition. It's not a deluxe edition because the deluxes come with our strategy guides that we make in house. Collector's Edition comes with cool stuff. And I don't think we're going to be doing an Anuchard Collector's Edition at this point. Maybe because I mean it's literally just an art book that's made. But then, tell us in the like we'll do a little a poll or something on here for Spotify. Like, do people think that would be a cool thing to do? Because I don't know. It's just from a business perspective. Like, it's if they already have the art book out there, like, why rehash it? I want to do stuff that we do, our own stuff. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting fall series because we got one unannounced game or two, a couple unannounced games. I think it's like two, and then we got an Anuchard that's coming, and we got Sunshine that's finally coming after 3 years. Tristan, I went to Kickstarter 3 years ago. Finally coming. And then we got some surprises because when I say 2 games, it might be more than 2 games because we got some cool stuff. And like as I said though, whether if we announce PlayStation or any of that, like we're not going to be doing any more pre-orders for PlayStation until y'all see what we have in store for PlayStation. I think it's a little different than we originally pitched due to Sony being a pain in the butt to work with, which we were tracking. They are notoriously terrible. But it's going to be amazing still a lot of steel, still a lot of metal. It's going to be awesome. So should we wrap her up here?
Yeah, I should probably get to bed. It's about midnight my time, so
it's 7 p.m. here. So time
got
to
work
go
in the morning.
Time to eat dinner. I wonder. My wife said she was going to try to find a propane tank because the pizza oven that we got, portable pizza oven, it's like 50 pounds. But it's a little portable thing. It needs a propane tank, and the one we had didn't work, so she was going to look for one during this. I heard the dogs barking, so at least somebody did go in and out of the house. So hopefully she was. I will. Maybe I'll have some custom-made pizza waiting for me.
Dang,
that'd be amazing.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and tomorrow's a big day where I'll get my badge too at work, so I get to finally be real. It's been a while.
You're a real boy.
In 2 months. Ironically, I have to do briefings on Tuesday. That you need the badge, so it was a little bit almost late. That's hilarious. I got stories though, crazy stories, man. It's fun. So it sounds cool. Next episode we'll probably next Tristan episode. We'll definitely talk about demos. I don't think Kevin will be ready. He's threw his back out, so he can't record. I'll give him shade about that. And we'll tell Luke to check it out. But I mean, if we have anybody come on for an interview or something, then we'll do that too. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just me with them interviewing. If you're available too on a Sunday or whatever, like it'll be a VGBS interview. I think it was when Dan Ibbotson came on a few episodes ago. I just think you weren't available that day. I think that's what happened. Like you and Coffin weren't available or whatever, and then we recorded.
Yep.
But yeah, so thanks everybody for listening in. You can check out VGBS on Spotify. It's on Apple iTunes. It's up on HagensAlley.com. I put it up there every time. So on the front page, the newest episode's always on the front. And we premiere here on YouTube as well as we do it. Right now it's just base video and video. But Tristan, I think you got a little surprise in store coming soon. With a little bit
like I said, I've been working on some things. I'm getting some video editing chops now. So,
and even on this episode, there may be an intro that may have happened. I don't know because you will have this video sitting there. I do like the ease of just clicking record on here and just being able to
it's great. Yeah, it totally works. It's split screen. It's whatever.
This is super cool. And the thing is that then we go up on a premiere and people can comment and we'll see those comments and we will, respond and all that, and it'll be super fun. As we grow too, because the hardest part with video game bullshit, as everybody knows, is we used to have a giant fan base and then we took a multi-year hiatus. Mm-hmm. And during that hiatus, then the Kyle incident happened and everything. Yeah. So like our listener base is fragmented. We moved from our old podcasting host to Anchor, which an Anchor turned into Spotify, so we lost all the viewer and listener fan base. And we never used YouTube. It was just audio straight back in the day. Mm-hmm. So that's a different thing. Is we were what they called the cool kids podcast. We were the underground. That's what video game bullshit is, and that's how we're gonna maintain. Is that we are you want to come here? We're gonna not sugarcoat anything. We're gonna make fun of Billy Mitchell when we need to, and
well, while trying to at least not make too many enemies.
We try to, as we always do, we try to overanalyze every aspect of what we do.
Yeah.
So we try to figure out, okay, so what could have happened with Billy Mitchell? Like all those things. That's exactly what we do.
Like, both of us, we're not devoid of empathy. I mean, we know where people are coming from, and we try and figure out where their head's at, but when you can't defend somebody like Billy Mitchell and what he's doing lately, then there's just no defending it.
It makes it hard, man. It makes it hard.
Yeah, it really does.
Damn. Well,
sorry, Billy.
I'm sorry, Steve. That's shade at you, brother. Nah, that's good. Steve's good people. But yeah, so everybody, thank you for listening and watching, and we will see you next episode.
Yes. Thank you.
Video game bullshit.